Hello. Hey everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Roomies Review the Movies. I am Lindsay. And today we're gonna do a bonus episode of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And just basically go over key points with it. This will be totally spoiler filled.
Yes.
At this point, it's not our fault if you haven't seen the movie because the movie's been out for almost a month. So,
Yeah. We're
so
gonna be talking about everything. So
right,
you
right,
don't like spoilers, this is not the conversation for you.
right at all. So, you have been warned. So, this is not normally what we do. We usually go over movies in the past that we may have uh, missed, but
Yes.
we are doing a bonus episode with a movie that we both have seen that's currently out in the movies now that we want to discuss. And, it's our podcast. We can do what we want. So,
Honestly. This is just okay, we can do what we want.
right. So, where do you want to start?
Where to start, right? I don't even
No,
know.
right?
I think we could really just start with like what rating we would give it and then break it down.
Okay.
So what rating would you give it, do you think?
What rating? Let's see. If we going off of our ratings list, let me pull that up. If we give it one movie reel, that's trash AF. Two, it exists. Three, entertaining. Four, great. Five, a true classic. Excuse me. Five, a true classic. Going off of this rating, I would probably go with a 4.
Mhm.
What about you?
I would go with 5.
5. Okay.
Mhm.
How would you rate the first one?
I would rate the first one a 5 as well.
5. Okay. Okay. The first one I would do a 5. First one I would do a 5. So with
Because
that,
the first one, you've got so much like cultural impact and everything going
yeah,
into that. And it's still one of the top 5 Marvel films, period.
right. It is. I did see that.
And then
Um,
with this one, they brought Rihanna out of retirement to do the soundtrack for one. So cultural impact already like set.
right, right.
Um,
Just off top. Just off
right.
top.
And
Um,
for me, I think this is the best Marvel movie, period.
so do you like this one better than the first one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But it's
Um,
not so much of a competition because the second one could not have been as good as it was without the first one, right? And
mhm.
it's also rare you get sequels that are better than the entrance, to the
Right,
saga.
right.
Um, but it's just like it's the first one set it up, and the second one took off.
Yeah. Um, I can see why you would feel that way. Um, hmm, I don't think it's better than the first one.
Yeah, no, a lot of people they're like, no, the first one, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I do love it. I do love this one. Is you know, it was a lot that they had to overcome in order to even make this one possible.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So just that alone,
Hmm.
and for it to be as good as it was, considering, like that's pretty dope. Um, and that just hats off to the whole crew, like from the writers on down, how they did everything so tasteful and respectful. Honestly, if I was part of the Bozeman family, which I've said this to several people, if I was part of the Bozeman family, I would be pissed. And I wouldn't be pissed at Marvel or anybody associated with Marvel, I would be pissed at myself because the funeral that they gave to T'Challa was would have been light years past anything I would have thought of giving Chadwick. And I'm sure
Yeah,
they gave him everything that he requested. But gosh, that funeral was amazing, you know?
yeah. Let's see again, like you said, that funeral was for T'Challa, right? Who's the king
Right,
of Wakanda and everything. And as we now know, Chadwick was a very private person. Like nobody, so many people did not even know he was sick. So
right.
I
And
could
he was
imagine.
sick about it too.
hmm I could imagine, like what he would have preferred would be very different. So.
Hmm. Right, right. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if they gave him, because I'm sure they gave him everything that he wanted
hmm
in his services, I still would have been pissed because I would have been like, "Damn, we could have did that. We could have did
But
that."
it also would have. It's also really nice though, because you still were able to have that more private ceremony and celebration, but you have this very public and beautiful expression of love and grief and celebration as well, like forever enshrined in this movie,
True, true.
and you didn't have to pay for it.
Right, right. You didn't have to because that would have
Mhm.
cost a pretty
Yeah,
penny if.
but you can always go back and like watch that and see just how much the person you loved was loved by so many others.
Right, right. I agree.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, this one was for King T'Challa. It wasn't for Mr. Bozeman.
Mhm.
Um, but still, I still would have been like, damn it, you know. um, but um, with the movie, it starts off with Suri trying to come up with a way to save her brother.
Yes.
Um, Unfortunately, she's not able to, and he ends up passing away. And then they have the funeral, and in the funeral,
Well, yeah, they had the funeral. Everybody's all in white and everything.
everybody's in white, and it's all amazing and whatnot. And then they have the casket go up into the spaceship.
Mhm.
They take the casket away. Now, me personally, I was like, where are they taking the casket?
They have a necropolis, right?
Okay.
So a city of the dead, uh, a
Oh,
graveyard, you know.
okay.
So that's where they were taking him.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, because that I was just like, so where is he going? Like I don't understand. um, Another thing that my mind went to, because they sat the casket upright, and I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, I hope they got him propped in there so that he won't
They,
slide. Yeah.
I thought about that too, but I was like, nah, they would have him secure. Like,
they
there's
had
no,
to have him secure.
yeah,
So, yeah, yeah,
there's
that's
nothing to worry about.
where my mind goes.
Yes.
And then then it goes silent, and then we have the Marvel sign come up with all these different scenes of T'Challa.
Because the Marvel like icon like intro is always different scenes from different Marvel movies or shows. It's rarely ever, I'm sorry, rarely ever anything very specific, right?
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes it is, and like in this case, it is. It's like all of his scenes, clips of scenes from the first movie and Civil War two, and you also
Hmm.
have like little shots of the script, of, like parts of that Chitala had said and things like that, and it's just all quiet. There's
Yeah,
no music, none of that usual Marvel fanfare,
right, right,
intro
right.
music, and all in purple, Wakandan purple. And the second time I went to see it, after that was over, people started clapping.
Oh, really?
Immediately. They started
Okay.
clapping.
Yeah, did nobody clap neither time that I saw it.
Yeah.
Now, as far as your emotions, did you cry?
Oh, I wanted to cry like 5 times. Like, and for me, the second time it felt even more powerful.
Mhm.
Um, I just didn't have any tissue, so I had to like really keep it together. But
Right.
I was tearing up like for very much for real. Like
Yeah,
that, it's just very effective. Like
yeah.
that is very, it was just very effective. What about you?
I did not cry, but the second time was very much so effective. I don't know what it is about you being like you already know it's coming and you still are like, dang. Cause even like I
Yes.
took my nephew to see it like both times that we went. And I even said to him, I was like, this feels more intense than the first time we saw it. And he was like, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is
I don't know
about
why. I've
it.
never had that experience seeing a
Right.
movie for a second time where it felt more intense.
Right, right. And that's one thing I can give Marvel because Endgame, I saw Endgame twice in the theater. The first time I cried
You
like a
did?
baby. Oh my God. It was horrible. I cried so bad. You would have thought that somebody in my family
I've
died.
done it to you.
Yeah, because I love Iron Man. So I was like, oh,
Oh,
like this cannot be real. This cannot be life. And I thought it was just me, going through, the womanly things. Like it was getting close. So I was just like, okay, maybe that's the problem. But then the second time I went, that was not the issue. And I was still crying. So I was like, okay, it's this movie. So I'm tired of Marvel bringing out all these emotions. But yeah.
they gotta get you in your feel some way.
Yeah, but I don't need to be in there crying like that. I'm a thug. Like
Are you
thugs.
though? All thugs have tears. All thugs cry. Okay? The term is thug tear for a reason.
Right. But it's supposed to be one single tear, not like boo hooing. Like I get the extra tissue, not because of the buttery popcorn, it's because I'm watching Marvel. So
Right.
I was gonna bring it out of you.
Well, I mean, what? You definitely weren't the only one for sure, right?
Yeah.
And in the theater, nobody can see you cry. This is fine.
Yeah. Unless you're going
I mean, they just hear
right in
you,
the
but they
face,
don't know who you are.
right? That's true. That's true. And then if I stand up, then they gonna want to look the other way. So yeah. But but yeah, damn you, Marvel, bringing out these emotions. But yeah, but yeah, that was very intense. So then after we get that, that scene in the Marvel side, marquee and whatnot, then we pick up a year later after his death, and Queen Ramonda, is that how you say her name? Ramonda or Ramonda?
Yeah.
Ramonda?
Mhm.
Okay. Kind of like Zamunda. Okay.
Mhm.
Queen Ramonda and a couple of her people go to I guess it's a congressional hearing. I guess that's
It's for
what,
UN. It's for the UN, United Nations. I'm sorry, you're
okay.
right. It's Rwanda, United Nations, in Geneva, right? So
Yeah.
Switzerland, because it's supposed to be neutral. Right? So that's where
Right.
all the countries meet up to discuss whatever. But yeah, and she's looking amazing. Ruth
Yeah.
E. Carter, the costume designer, is coming for everybody's necks. Okay,
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean, who unstoppable? You thought the costumes in the first movie were iconic? You have no idea.
Oh
You
yeah.
are not ready.
She
Show
definitely showed
out.
out. She definitely showed out because we already know Queen Angela Bassett's gonna come through no matter what she's in. You know what I'm saying? But the way that they put her shoulders and her arms on display,
All the
especially
time.
when she walked in to that meeting. You know what I'm saying? It was just like she's in command, and I wish a motherfucker would. Period. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Try her.
Right, exactly. Because you're gonna get all these guns. You know what I'm saying? You're definitely gonna get your ticket to the gun show because
Oh
she had a
yes.
display. So she she walks in or whatever because um now that they know that Wakanda has vibranium, they're trying to say that they're weapons of mass destruction and we need to know where they are.
And you refuse to share, and we can't even buy it from you.
Right. So
As
They
if Wakanda is
had
obligated to do so. Why?
right, like who are y'all? You know what I mean? And I wish you would try it. So they had the US talking and they had the French talking. Meanwhile, while they're going through this meeting, the French had some of their military people go to an area where they kept vibranium to try to confiscate it, only to be met by Wakanda's military, like the
The
elite.
Dora Milaje. Yes.
Yes. And
And I
yeah,
love their theme, like, because like when they get down there and they're like, it's supposed to be like a research facility or something. They're like, open the vault or whatever. We want the vibranium, blah blah. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, we'll do that. And so they open the door, and out of the shadows, you see these three Dora Milaje just step into the light, and it's just this really very epic entrance with the shadows lifting and the light just flowing over and whatever, and you start hearing the little chant, the choo 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 choo. I love it so much. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah. And so like this is going on along with Queen Ramonda talking at this UN meeting. And then next thing you know, they open up the doors and they march those military people in, and they are they are shackled. And the parallels to that was not lost on me, because it did parallel how they used to shackle slaves back in the day. So that wasn't lost on me. And then they made them get on their knees.
I was like,
And
oh, they learned Wakanda to know the word Neil, huh? Okay.
right, they knew that. They knew that. They knew what to do. So and Queen Ramonda basically warned them, don't try it again, or we will not be this lenient when we catch you. So
Mm-hmm.
um
I know
yeah.
what you say in your halls of power.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, she
mean,
definitely commanded the room with that. Um, but I mean, doesn't matter what she does. She can be reading the dictionary. She's going to command the room.
the
Because
performance, her performance in this movie is one of her most elevated performances. Letitia Wright's performance was incredible. Her acting has always been really great. Like you can go back to Black Mirror, her Black Mirror episode.
Mhm.
It's so good.
Yeah,
But she really did elevate her performance here as well. Like they brought it.
yeah, she did. She had to, she
She
had
had
to.
to for sure.
Yeah,
But like Denai Guerrera as well, like just everybody you can really see they gave it their all.
yeah. I would love to know what her thought process was, Letitia Wright, once she found out that she was gonna have to carry this movie.
Yeah.
You know, because my heart would have dropped to the floor. Like I ain't ready.
So much because I mean, not only has your coworker and probably like a very good friend of yours passed away, he's this iconic, character heading this Marvel movie series. And there's definitely a certain way you're thinking things are going to go, and then everything changes
Hmm.
overnight.
Right, right. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, excuse me. And if you look at like Shuri's character from the first one to the second one, it was a big shift because like she was like the kid sister. She cracked her little
Mhm.
jokes here and there. She was a smart kid, but she did things here and there, but it wasn't a main focus on her.
Right.
Now it's the main focus, and there was some parts of it that she had to turn dark because she was grieving. You know what I mean? Which to me is kind of like a flaw that they might have in the first Black Panther, because they didn't really grieve the father's death.
They did in Civil War.
I don't, because I watched Civil War like a couple weeks ago, and I didn't really feel like
I
they
mean,
grieved it. I feel like T'Challa did.
yes, because he's the one who's introduced, right?
Yeah.
And so, by the time we get back to Wakanda, it's been like a week or so, right? And so now we got to get the new king. That's the main focus. So
Right.
it's all about T'Challa at that point. So Civil War is T'Challa, and then Black Panther's just T'Challa.
Right.
And then
Right. But
also,
it just
we have his death happening in like several movies prior, and it's the character dying,
Mhm.
right? But we also get to see the character again in the ancestral plane. But with this
right.
one,
Right.
Chadwick Boseman is actually gone. We're not going to get to see him again in these movies at all. So we're processing that, and then also the real life kind of thing, and so are they, right? And this head of the franchise. So it's going to feel and be different, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but it just seems like with the first one they kind of like I wouldn't necessarily say they made him out to be a bad person,
I mean,
but
he did kill his brother and
yeah, like
abandoned his nephew. I think it was the abandonment of the nephew that was really the thing. But going back to Wakanda Forever.
yeah. Yeah, but it just I don't know, once, you know, once I saw how they was like really dealing, which I mean I get,
Mhm.
it was just like, dang, they really didn't process or deal with the father's death at all.
Yeah, yeah, because we didn't really get to know him like that. He was never the main character, you know.
Right. Right. And I understand that as well. Yeah. And I mean the movie was already kind of long, so maybe it's
That
gonna do
it's
this
it
season.
has to do a lot. This movie has to do so much.
Right, right,
It
right.
was already going to have to do a lot before Chadwick passed away, and then add that on top of everything, like.
Right.
And honestly, like I didn't even feel it. Like the time, I didn't feel it. I felt like I could have been watching more. Like, where's the 5 hour cut? I would watch it.
Yeah. It didn't feel like almost what was it, almost 3 hours? It didn't
Almost
feel
3 hours. Yeah.
yeah. It didn't feel like that to me either. And then also I saw it the first time I saw it in just the MX 4D seats, and then the second time I saw it in the MX 4D seats with 3D.
Oh my goodness. Did you ever
Yeah,
get motion sick?
no, and
No. Okay.
this is the crazy part about that because
I
the
imagine there was a
first
lot of water.
no, that's the killer part
No.
because when I saw the first Black Panther, I saw it in the motion seats, but I saw it at an AMC theater. At an
Mhm.
AMC theater, they just had like a couple of rows where it was the motion seats. So, and that was it. It was just the motion seats. So then
Mm.
second time I saw it in MX4D 3D. And so when I saw it there, that's when you got all the elements and the stuff, jumped out the screen at you. This time I saw it with the motion seats. And this is the crazy part because the first 30 minutes our seats weren't on. I had to go tell the manager, like, hey, our seats ain't on, So we ended up getting free passes to go back again. So we used our free passes to go see MX4D 3D. But it's not like if you have to pay for the 3D, it's not really worth it.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't suggest to go see the 3D, but the motion, cool. But the first Black Panther was dope. Like everything that the MX4D does with the snow, with the rain, with the wind, with the motion, everything, the smell, everything. You saw that you experienced that while you were watching the first Black Panther. You didn't experience that with the Wakanda Forever.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't get no snow. We should have got snow, but we didn't get no snow.
You
We
should have
should
got a lot of water. Like a lot of
we
water.
did not get any water. We didn't get
Wow.
any water.
That's odd.
That was what I was anticipating. You know what I'm saying? But
Was it the same theater or?
yes, that's the killer part. It was the same theater.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't understand that. But maybe a lot of people complain about the water because it's like it's just a squirt of water just randomly squirting at you instead of just raining down or something like that. But
I I did the 4DX like for a Star Wars movie, like the last Star Wars movie,
uh-huh.
and I got so sick. I got so motion sick. But like,
Really?
yeah, I was like, it was the first time I'd ever done that before.
Okay.
Um, So yeah, it's not for me. But like the water and stuff was cool, like the smoke and all that stuff. Like I loved that. So
Yeah,
I just figured there'd be, considering Namor and Talokan, I figured there'd be a lot of more water.
right. I was thinking it too, you know what I mean? But no, we got zero water. We got zero smells. We got zero snow. We got a whole bunch of wind and a lot of motion.
I wonder if it wasn't working.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired of them though. but but yeah, and that's the crazy part because the first time when we saw it, they test the seats right before it starts.
Oh really?
So they were on, and then all of a sudden they weren't on, and you're into the movie, and this is your first time seeing it, so you don't know,
You don't think about it.
right, especially with the beginning that we had. I don't think it should have been too much motion,
Hmm.
dealing with his death or whatever. So I'm not thinking about it till the time when they had their fight on the bridge. I'm like, we are supposed to be moving.
You should
I
definitely be feeling some water for sure.
right. And I'm looking around at everybody else, they're not moving. So I went out and told the manager. I came back. By the time I'm like gathering my stuff out of my seat to sit back in the seat, they turned the seats on. Shocked everybody in the whole theater. So I just yelled out, "You're welcome." But yeah. But and then didn't nobody complain. It was just us that complained. So they gave us free passes. But like my friend that we went with, she was like, I'm almost 40 years old. These seats are not for me. So yeah. And I was like, really? But yeah, them seats ain't for everybody.
Yeah, but I
So
always got like, I used to get motion sickness in cars and stuff, so I wasn't like too shocked.
yeah.
Um,
See, I get motion sickness in cars if I'm reading.
yes,
I
exactly.
can't read. Yeah.
And it's something about the stillness of what's in front of you and the motion of your body not being in alignment that makes you sick. And so that's what happened to me in the
Yeah.
movie. Um, but yeah, let's see. We were talking about the UN scene where they
Yeah.
deliver the prisoners to France, and say to France in French, "Here, I'm returning these to you." Like,
Right.
here,
Right.
here, you're lost and found, right? And I love that. And there are like 6 languages spoken in this movie, and there are lots of subtitles. But I
Mhm.
watch things with subtitles all the time, so I didn't really think about it that much. Um, but I did love how they colored the subtitles to let you know who was speaking what.
Yeah. Yeah. It made it easier to read because I can't stare at subtitles. It
Mhm.
takes away from what's going on because I got to read. So yeah, I don't like subtitles. But yeah, it made it easier. It definitely made it easier with them color coding it and whatnot. But I guess that makes sense because like I did not think about how many languages were spoken, but 6 sounds about right.
Mhm.
And then they didn't bombard you with the subtitles,
No.
so that was a good thing as well. So, um, but yeah, so what do we, where do we go next? What part
We're
did you
back
want to talk
on.
about next?
We get back to Wakanda. Um, well, we have Everett Ross and all that stuff coming up, but like, yeah, I didn't. What did you think of the Everett Ross scenes?
Um, that's the what is it? Is he CIA?
CIA,
Yeah.
her favorite colonizer.
Um, yeah, the colonizer. um, I mean, I could take or leave him.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't too much needed like he was in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I did like was how they had Elaine from Steinfeld. I was so hype about that. I was telling him, I was like, that's Elaine, that's Elaine. Because I love Seinfeld. So yeah, I was just like,
Oh,
just too
really?
happy. Yes, I love Seinfeld. So I was too hyped to see Elaine. Julia
Mm-hmm.
Louise Dreyfus.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Um
Yeah. But
but
what was it?
I
Have you?
feel like they should have done more
Mhm.
because um relationship is too is too it's too much there that they didn't do anything with.
I don't think there's really anything there to do anything with. Like, I don't know. Did you see Black Widow?
No.
So they introduce her in Black Widow
Okay.
in the end credit scene, and then she's also in Falcon, uh, what was the show they had on Disney with Falcon and the guy who was trying to be Captain America. I can't remember. Oh, Falcon and Winter Soldier. That was the name of the show.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
she's also in that too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um,
But I just
yeah.
feel like they're not, because of the fact that they're
But this
exes.
is where you learn that they were ever married.
Yeah. But it's just like, hey, so y'all give us all of this and y'all don't do nothing with it.
Well, I don't know if there's really too much else to be done with it. You know what I mean? Like the relationship is already clearly quite over.
Yeah, I mean it's over, but what's the point in making them? What's the point of putting that extra on there, making
To
them
have a little
exes?
bit of tension and a little bit of comedy, right? Because like a lot of the jokes they make between themselves don't work if they didn't have that prior relationship.
Yeah, but I just felt like they could have explored that more. But then we would have
But
been looking
again, the movie is
at
doing so much, right?
4 hours. We would have definitely been looking at a 4 hour movie. But excuse me.
Yes. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really. I mean, he was very limited. His time, his screen time was very limited,
Mhm.
and maybe they're gonna use him more now that I mean,
Oh, they're definitely going to use him more.
yeah,
It's because she's building a team, basically,
yeah, and then
and so
they I mean, what all they had to go through with him in the end,
mhm.
so I mean, it's a setup for the next movie to use him
Yeah,
more, but yeah, but
it's a setup for the next phase because that's when like her team is going to be come together. She's kind of you're familiar with Amanda Waller?
no,
No, okay. Well, she's going to be I would say an Amanda Waller type character, but she's going to be kind of like almost a villain, if not totally a villain, building this team. Kind of Suicide Squadish kind of an idea, sort of, so very loosely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Uh, but yeah, we do also see in the movie, we also get back to, uh, the Americans are also trying to find vibranium, right?
hmm
Only they've created a vibranium detecting device and they found vibranium under the ocean. So
hmm
they have their big ship out there, and two agents from the CIA are talking about, are going through like what they found, and the detector worked. They found some raw blue vibranium under the ocean. The drill bit is all chewed up, so they send these guys down there in these huge, suits, so they
yeah,
can withstand the water pressure and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so much money has been spent on this place, right?
yeah,
And they get down there, they see it, they're reporting on it, their vitals are fine, and suddenly one guy's vitals goes crazy and he's gone. And the other partner, this lady down there, she starts freaking out. She's like, I don't know where he is, he's completely gone. And she sees this red jellyfish, and then she's gone. Then we see, a group of people like in the water, and they're singing, and it's like a siren thing. So these are the telecons, right? Singing, and it's like a siren song. And the story of the siren, where everyone would crash their ships on the rocks, listening to the siren song. And this time, the men just hop overboard, just jump themselves into the ocean, which is just like the eeriest, one of the eeriest images. Like
yeah,
I was also watching the show on Netflix called 1899, and there's like a similar thing where like almost everyone on the boat just leaps overboard, just in a
hmm
trance leaps overboard. It's just such an eerie like sight. Like it's very weird. Um, and so that's happening, and they're also crawling up the ship and everything. And they're getting into it. They're having a skirmish, a battle, a war. And they've almost everybody on the ship is dead, right? Thanks to these warriors with all their blue skin, and like some have feathers, and like they have the masks on and everything, so they can breathe air. Well, breathe while they're outside of the ocean. I also
Yep.
really loved. It's pretty subtle to me. They didn't make too much of it, but when they come in and out of the water, how their skin color changes. Like you don't even really think about it. But when
Mhm.
they're in the water, their skin has that typical melanated color, But as soon as they come out of the water, it's blue.
Hmm. Wonder does it have something to do with the oxygen?
It is. It is. It absolutely is. But it was just such a smooth effect. They didn't really draw much attention to it.
Hmm.
But it happens every time. I was like, oh, that's so cool. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like, yeah, it is what it is. And anyway, the last two of these American agents are like on the helicopter, like, we got to get out of here. Because at first I think it's the Wakandans attacking them, which makes no sense. Uh, none at all.
Yeah.
Um, but then they get on the microphone, they get on the walkie-talkie, they're like, no, it's not the Wakandans, it's somebody else. And by this time we see Namor like flying up from the ocean, right? Just like I love the way they have him like rise from the water each time. It's just so completely smooth, and
Mhm.
in like it's inhuman, right? Humans
Yeah.
cannot get up from the water like this.
Right.
Um, but you see him flying with the wings that he has on his ankles, and he takes the helicopter and spins it around and crashes it into the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's just very much like such a good introduction to like these people are serious. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
We're
what do
not
you
there
feel
for
about that introduction
them.
to? What do you feel about the introduction to them? What are they called? The
Oh,
ta-
telecons.
telecons. Yeah.
I thought it was great
Yeah.
because it's like kind of mysterious, right? You do get a little bit of sense of like what kind of power they have, what kind of warriors they are, and what they're willing to do to protect what they have.
Hmm.
And but it's also like under this cover of darkness, so you still have that kind of little bit of mystery or whatever. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I'm surprised Marvel even went that far because there was a lot of killing in that scene,
Yeah.
and we didn't get to see any bloody bodies or anything like that. But that's a
No, they
lot of
don't.
that's a
They
lot of
yeah, they don't really do blood ever. But yeah, it's a lot of like that person is dead. Like, you know, blood or no blood.
right, right, and then the whole like being hypnotized to kill yourself. That was a lot too.
Wild. I love it.
Yeah, like it was dope. Like I said, I'm surprised Marvel even let them go that far, but
I'm glad they did.
I'm glad they did too. You know,
Hmm.
that just showed that they were not playing no games. And it's so funny because with the whole them blaming Wakanda and whatnot, the first time I watched it, I was like, "Yep, blame the black folks." That's the first thing I thought. I was like, "Yep, everybody gonna blame the black folks."
And
But
I was
yeah,
thinking, you're not even near Wakanda right now. Like, why
right,
are you
you're
blaming it?
in the water. You know,
Why would it be them attacking you? That doesn't even make sense. Like, girl,
exactly. Like it's in the water at the bottom of the ocean floor. Do y'all not realize that Wakanda has a whole force field around it to
in a
protect
totally
it
different hemisphere. You're not even near Africa right now. Like, what are
right?
we doing?
Why would we put it in the ocean? Like,
Halfway across the
like
world.
right. So yeah, like it didn't add up. It honestly didn't add up that they was even in the ocean trying to look for it, but whatever.
They were just trying to look for it wherever they could find it, I think. You
Right,
know.
just anywhere. But yeah. So yeah, that introduction was pretty dope. It was
Yeah.
pretty dope. Um,
Yeah, then
then
we get back to Wakanda and it's Queen Ramonda and Shuri, and Shuri is like spent this entire year in her lab trying to recreate the heart shaped herb because Killmonger burned it all up,
hmm
and she hasn't been able to do it. And that's what she was trying to do when she was trying to save her brother, and she couldn't get it. They just don't have any, and this synthesis just doesn't create a stable enough, or viable. recreation of the herb. So she just kind of been intense on this. She's been blaming herself. Uh, Probably has not let up. She's cut herself off from like feeling any kind of anger about it, so we don't get that kind of like fiery revenge that we got from T'Challa in Civil War. She's like
Hmm.
not trying to feel that,
Right, right,
or anything, probably.
right, right. She
Um,
lost herself in the work, definitely.
yeah.
Um, yeah, which I mean, which is something that people try to do without
Hmm.
trying to deal with grief, you know.
Yeah,
So
people cope in a lot of different ways, and becoming a workaholic is one a very common one.
right,
Uh, so
right,
her mother, of course, is concerned about her spending all her time in the lab like this and stewing in her guilt and grief and despair. And so she takes her out to do this ceremony where they burn their mourning clothes to symbolize the end of the mourning period and to start something new. And of course, the clothes they have Rwanda in. Oh my god! Like it's just everything is just so freaking beautiful. I mean, royalty for real.
yeah. Even to the haircut, like her haircut was
The
so
wigs,
yes,
phenomenal.
yes. Like that haircut, I could see her rocking that haircut in real life. Like
In real life, I was like, wow, I'm like transfixed by it because you're telling me she's got this short, just this TWA teeny weeny afro, completely white, taper cut wig, and it looks so good.
right,
It
right,
looks so real. Like
right. Like Tyler Perry, take notes.
he don't
'Cause-
care. He's not spending that money. That's what he said. He's not doing that. He's a
yeah,
billionaire, but he's not gonna spend that money. Like, sir,
and that's the crazy part. You know what I'm saying? You know, because this should not be a running joke.
I
That you're
can't
with,
want better for you than you want for yourself, though. So hey.
right,
But she looked amazing, and they're doing this ritual, and she's talking to Shuri about how she feels her son like in the wind, in the air, and she's like he's dead, but he's not gone. And Shuri's just like, well, that's just a construct your mind is created to make you feel better about the situation, you know. She's like, I just don't believe in it. And, that continues from what we saw in the first movie where they're like, Shuri is a child who scoffs at tradition kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
And for her, because it's not tangible, she's like, it doesn't matter. And that would also lead into her like connecting with those emotions, which she does not want to do. But then her mother asked a really great question. Well, okay, well, what does your mind come up with to comfort you? What, hmm, how are you feeling? Since you know everything, right?
Right, right,
Uh, and before they can really get into that, Namor shows up. Now, how he got in, nobody knows. He didn't. Nobody was able to detect him. I don't know if the River Tribe was just sleeping or what was like what was happening.
yeah. I'm still trying to figure out how he got in too.
Hmm. And it wasn't just
Like,
him.
right, right. Like, I don't know. Maybe the force field doesn't go in the water.
It does. I'm
It
sure it
does.
does. I'm sure it does.
Well, maybe it was
It's
all
got
that
to in some
vibranium
way.
around his neck.
That's what I'm thinking. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because as far as they know, they're the only ones on Earth who have it.
Right. Right.
So
And then
he
they
shows
find
up.
out.
They're not. He shows up, and I just love Tanach Huerta in this movie. He's so charismatic. He's intense. He can be funny when they give him the opportunity to be,
Hmm.
and he's just beautiful. He's great
Yeah.
all around.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, this is nice. This is so nice. It smells good in here and everything. Y'all got vibrating. I'll never have to leave. My mom told me all about this place, whatever."
Hmm.
And he's upset with them, with T'Challa, because he revealed the capabilities of vibranium to the world, and now people are looking for vibranium, and they stumbled across or near to Talokan, and he feels like that's a threat to his people, which it is. and he wants them to make it right, even though they weren't the ones who made it wrong in the first place. But all right, and find the scientists who created the vibranium detection device, and deliver that scientist to them, right? So that nobody else can do this. And they even, he's not alone, and whoever he's with, which is most likely Nomura and the other warrior, whose name I can't remember right now, um, deliver that device to them. You know, and during this scene, I love how Ramonda and Shuri have their spears trained on him the entire time. Like
Mm-hmm.
when he moves, they move. Like they are
Right.
not, they may be just the two of them there, probably not more than likely though, and but they're not going out without a fight. Period.
Right. And I like the fact that even though they're royalty, they are trained, basically
Mm-hmm.
trained assassins. So you can try it if you want to.
They're not shrinking flat. They're not shrinking violets. Like they know how to fight.
Right. Um. What was I going to say? Oh, do you feel? Because I've seen this because I've watched several reviews since the movie been out. And I've seen people kind of like be critical on this part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that that was a good idea to have Namor want to go after the scientists that built it?
I can totally understand why he would want to do that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because some people have made the argument that that wasn't a good thing because excuse me, because it wasn't necessarily the scientists that built it that you should have the issue with. It's the people that's using it incorrectly or using it for bad.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but also which one is a easier target to hit?
Yeah, yeah, like I can see both arguments on that. But we have to usher in what's her name, Ironheart.
Riri, yeah, Riri Williams.
Yeah,
That too, and also like, okay, what is the movie of Namor trying to take down the entire like what? We're already doing a lot. Like,
yeah,
and, and if you're going for the scientists, it's a much easier, smaller target to hit. One person, rather than a system of cultural and the societal expectations and governments and militaries. And let's go for the one scientist first, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can definitely see that, but then I can also see you trying because the way that
I
the
mean,
Taliban is constructed, they have constructed themselves to make us believe that they are ridiculous amounts in numbers.
mhm.
So for them to go after like America wouldn't necessarily be something far fetched,
But they also want Wakanda to do this, right?
right?
Because
Because they still want to be ambiguous, you know.
they want to be ambiguous, and they also want because they know Wakanda's
They
going to be
know it's
powerful.
not the problem.
Right. They want Wakanda's alliance when they also know Wakanda's going to be powerful enough to do that.
Yeah,
So let me do this one thing first, and then we can escalate if
yeah,
it doesn't work out as we do through the film.
yeah. Now, would you have trusted them more to do the, you know?
To do what? To do what he said? Yes.
But like, who's to say that he would have stopped? Like, if they were to went ahead and complied and gave him Ironheart, who's to say that he would have stopped at Ironheart? You know, he could have
Oh, yeah,
just turned.
sure. I mean, you have no idea.
Right,
Right?
right.
And that's part of the intrigue in the movie is like, because right after this, they have that kind of roundtable discussion with the elders and tribe leaders, about what
Hmm.
to do about Namor and Talcon.
Right,
So
right,
that
like,
is one of the questions they're even asking themselves, right? Because
right,
Mbaku says, well, who's to say he doesn't come back and ask for more?
right. Or just come back and attack us, period, you know? Because
Yeah,
that would have been my whole thing. Like, well, I don't know him. I ain't never heard of him. He heard
right,
of us, but I ain't never heard him. I need his resume. I need
right.
something, you know? before I put myself out there for him and do something for him. Like, who are you? You know,
Hmm.
like, should I be afraid? Like, I get you
But
guys
it's
are
also in their best interest too that these other countries don't get a hold of vibranium.
right, right. Like, it need
So,
like their search for vibranium needs to stop. Period.
mhm.
You know,
So I
regard.
can them going after Riri, like to just to, like basically just to see what's up, like to assess like what's
Mhm.
really happening on this side, makes a lot of sense because they still don't want these countries getting vibranium either.
Right.
Okay? So if we can assess the situation by going after the scientists, because it is actually in our interest to find out what's going on, then let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can definitely see that because they did not know about that attack until no more. You
Right.
know. So um and then that's when they got a hold of the colonizer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to see what was
Because
up.
he was the one who told them, like, well, what about da? And they're like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking
Right.
about. Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, and if it wasn't for those chain of events, then Wakanda wouldn't have known, and they probably could have been, blindsided. You just never know.
exactly, exactly.
So yeah, so they end up going to well, what's her name, Okoye,
Hmm.
and after she made a argument for Shuri to come, reluctantly, Queen Ramonda says that Shuri could go with her to America
Yeah,
to get.
because Okoye's like, I'll protect her. I could do this mission in my sleep. Da da da. But she is also thinking about how Shuri's been basically locked in her lab for a year.
Right.
And like she needs to get out.
She needed to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she needed to get out. She needed something to do outside of that lab.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so they end up going to America. Um, and then once they find out who this scientist, mad scientist is, she ended up being a black college student in Massachusetts. And
19-year-old
so,
Riri Williams at MIT from the
yes,
south side of Chicago.
right, right. So they ended up, rolling up on her, which after a, a unique interaction, for lack of a better word, she she ends up going with them.
Oh, it was a great scene. The whole scene was so great. Like, and even starting from just Okoye and Shuri like leaning on the car watching her, you
Hmm.
know, and Okoye's like, hoping she's like, I'm gonna go do it. They look so fucking cool. Like the clothes,
I was
everything.
just about to say, like, Okoye's cat suit was everything,
With
and
the blazer and the shoulder pads and the cat eye glasses.
yes, yes, I think they were Louis Vuitton sunglasses,
I have no idea.
but
They
yeah,
look so
like
good.
Okoye was everything, and then they sitting on that expensive ass sports car, like
The
that's
purple track shoe on Shuri it was just like very cool. It's kind of like
right.
a minimalist tech. Like it looks so cool.
Yeah, like that was giving me Fresh Prince vibes.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah. So just like them two over there with the car is a poster in itself,
it is. It
you know.
is.
And then this is the funny part about that scene. Okay, so it's a whole lot of people that have partnerships with Black Panther, for what's that called? For merch.
Mm.
One of them is MAC Cosmetics. They have a whole Black Panther line, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But who got the free promotion in that scene?
Fenty.
Yes.
So funny.
I was like, oh, that is hilarious.
I didn't catch it the first time, but I heard it's like she's like Fenty 440. I was like, oh.
Yes. Like I caught it. I caught it the first time because I wear Fenty, but Um, I had went to Mac. I think in between the first and second time I
Hmm.
saw it. I had went to Mac and I saw their display. It was, of course, it was Black Friday, so they was almost sold out. But that's when
Did you
it
get
dawned on
anything?
me, like I didn't get anything from the line because they were almost sold, like what I would have gotten, it was sold out.
Oh,
So yeah, I think they had like eyeshadow left. I ain't buying no eyeshadow. Um, because I barely use what I got. So,
fair
but
enough.
yeah, yeah. So I had caught it then, and I was just like, that is so funny that they gave the free promo to Rihanna, and they paid for that sponsor. Mac paid for that sponsorship. So
Yeah.
I was like, shout out to Riri.
I wonder, like, if that was a line or if that was improvised or something, because it was just it was so quick. Um,
But they had the number and everything. That's why I don't think it was improvised.
well, I mean, people make Fenty jokes like that. I've seen people make Fenty jokes like that
Oh,
on
okay.
Twitter.
Uh huh.
Um, like, you're a 440, but you're acting like a different number or something like that. So
Oh hell no.
yeah,
That's funny. But yeah, it could have. I guess it could have been improvised then. But
but it's great. They go to her dorm room. They get in there. She's like, "Am I being recruited?" And they're like, "No." I was like, "Why not?"
you know, because she got to be her own person. That's why.
She need to be recruited. Yeah, if I went to Wakanda, I would never leave.
Right.
Come back here for what?
Right. I'm like, can my family come over? Can I have visitors? Because I'm not leaving. We can FaceTime, but it's the best I'm gonna get you.
Because I'm sure the signal will be very strong, but I'm not
Oh
leaving.
yeah, yeah, it'll be crystal clear. Be crystal clear. So, but yeah, so
That great. The scene is really great. She's like trying to, she's like, I've got differential equations. Like, I don't have time for this.
mhm.
Whatever. I'm like, girl, are you serious?
Right, right, right.
And she's like, she threw her speaker at them and like Okoye sliced in half. Very simple, very easy. And she picks up a heater and everything. And she's like, she's still gonna fight for some reason. I don't know. Okoye's like,
Yeah,
you have two options. You can come to Wakanda conscious or unconscious.
right. But you're
And
coming
Shuri's
anyway.
like, well, maybe she can fight this, Fish King with her heater by herself. We can leave her alone. But the funny thing is, at the end of the movie, that's essentially what they do.
Yeah, right, right. So, um, yeah. So she reluctantly, with a fight, she ends up going with them, and so they end up going to basically her lab.
Yeah,
And while they're at her lab and whatnot, that's when the feds are coming. So the feds got tipped out that they were there, and they want all three of them to come out. Of course, they're not gonna come out. Um, and they ended up going on a police chase. I
yeah.
guess that's what we would
We
call
get to
it.
see, and they put like a very purposeful line in there when they're like, "She's got an Iron Man suit." Like, yes, she does.
Yeah,
But we also get to learn about like her interest in tech and stuff like that, and like how deep it is, and then also like the whole thing with the car, her stepfather, their relationship. We learn a little bit about that. They have that whole police chase scene, which is cool.
mhm.
Um, but like my favorite part is like when it's towards the end of that scene where she like bombs the police on the bridge, and all three of them come through the fire, like Shuri on the motorbike, Okoye in the car, and then Riri in the suit. I was just like, yes, so
Yeah,
cool. Because it kind of like made me think about that scene in was it in game? Oh, I can't remember. But where they had like all the female characters from the different movies like sharing a little kind of shot together. Um,
oh yeah, when they were walking.
yeah. And I was like,
Hmm.
well, that's cool, but like they don't know each other. Like none of them knows each other, you know?
No, they don't.
And so
Yeah,
this was just so much
yeah,
better. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I wish we gotten a little bit more of like the three of them together. but of course we're running on 2 hours and 45 minutes, so I understand.
Right. Right. Now, with that car scene, um, because it's comparable to the car scene from the first Black Panther. Which one do you
Mm,
feel was
Korea.
better?
I don't know. I think they were both really great, actually.
Yeah.
Um, the one that they had in South Korea was really great because it's an introduction, kind of to like what Okoye could do in a car, what Nakia could do. What the one thing I like that South Korea scene is one of my favorite scenes, particularly the fight scene before the car chase. Um, but yeah, it's just very much like surprise after surprise after surprise for that first scene in South Korea. So it's hard to beat that, just based on that alone. Um, but the scene here was still really great. Like you have the interaction with Okoye and then Griot, the AI, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Shuri's killing it on the bike. And then most of all, you have this thing, showing Riri what she can do with her home built Iron Man suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think the
For
favorite part of
me,
that scene is like the fight on the bridge between Okoye
yes,
and Mora. Yeah.
yes, that's what I was gonna say. Like for me, even though the car scene in the first one was really good, and I really liked the
Mhm.
part where they broke that car all the way down to the car seat.
Yes,
That was
that's all she
hilarious.
had.
Right, that was hilarious. But I feel like the one in Wakanda Forever was better because it does go into that fight scene, and that fight scene is amazing.
It's so
That,
good.
yes, that fight
It
scene.
took them. Let's see. They said it. They worked on the choreography for that one fight scene for 4 months,
I heard that. Yeah,
which is
it paid
unheard
off.
of. It
It paid.
absolutely did.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah,
absolutely did. Um,
yeah. Just
like
shout out to the choreographers in this movie.
yes, I love how they give everybody different fighting styles, right? And which is something you can see. That's one of the reasons why I really love that fight scene in the South Korea scene from the first movie, is because Nakia, Okoye, and T'Challa all have different fighting styles,
Mm-hmm.
very different. Um, you get to see how what the fighting styles of like the Talakans are versus Okoye and everything. You get to learn kind of a little bit more about their power set, although not everything. And oh god, when Okoye shoulder was dislocated by the spear, oh my god. Everybody, like both times I watched it, everybody was like, oh, like it happened to them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That. Whew, child. And then that was the part where I was like, okay, these seats are not working. So when I went and saw it the second time,
Like, I should be feeling this.
right, right. So when I went and saw it the second time, there was like a lot of. I didn't realize how long I was gone because that's when I left was during that fight scene to go tell the manager. So when I saw it the second time, there was a lot that I had missed on that part, and I was like, dang, because this is like one of those movies that you don't want to go to the bathroom or nothing like that.
No, there's
So
really no good point to leave, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. So like I was I was happy I went and saw it the second time so I could see that because
Hmm.
yeah, I didn't realize how much I had missed,
Yeah.
but
My
it was
mom actually went to go see this with like her Red Hatters group, and I had to tell them like go to the bathroom before you go because it was almost 3 hours, which is
right,
pushing it for anybody, really.
right, right, right. Because I like the second time I went, I didn't have to go, but the first time I went, I did have to go to the bathroom, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not getting
Yeah,
up.
the first time, like I was with a group of friends, we actually bought out the theater, so it would be just us. But everybody went to the bathroom afterward.
right, right, right. Because I was like, yeah, I'm not getting up no more. I was mad I had to get up to go tell them about them seats, but yeah, I was like, nope, not doing it. But
But the fight scene on the bridge was really great.
yeah, yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and then it displayed what they were up against in regards to the Taliban, because yeah, they're dope fighters, but I don't think that they've had somebody to match their skill quite like the Talican
Oh,
until
absolutely not.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was like it was just like they was on the same level. So that was
I
dope to
mean,
see.
Okoye handled the first four pretty easily,
Yeah, and then they got up.
and then they
Like
got up.
and then they got up. So
Yeah,
I
and
know
that's
she was like,
one of the questions I kind of had, like, because with Talo Khan, they got they also got their power from the heart shaped herb, right? There's a little different because based on where it is, right? So, but all of their ancestors, not I'm sorry, all of their descendants get the powers too,
yeah.
right? So you have a lot more shared power in Talokan than you have in Wakanda. And I'm
Now
like, dang.
one thing I did not understand. Okay, so I get that Namor was the first one to be born
Hmm.
after they switched over.
Hmm.
But why what does that have to do with him like living all these many years?
He's a mutant.
Why would he be a mutant?
Da-da-da-da-da-da. They're coming. Well, he's a mutant because they all took the herb directly, right?
Uh-huh.
And but when you're pregnant, of course, you have the amniotic fluid and the placenta and stuff. So you get a lot of stuff, but it may not be quite as direct. You may not get quite everything. And he's still developing. So I'm guessing there's the idea that it changes DNA
Mm.
in a way that would be different than if you just took it yourself. Now, it probably extends all of their lives somewhat, but for whatever reason, those are just the traits that he got more.
Mm. You would think it would be in reverse because if he
Comic book
would,
movie, I'm not going to think too much about it.
yeah, right, right. I'm just thinking of like Blade. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You
see, different franchise, so
know, but I'm just thinking like, okay, that's the part that just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
I mean, for me, it was like when they're underwater.
mhm.
How does Shuri hear him when she's in the suit? How does he hear Shuri when he is outside of her suit? That's not how sound works in water. Like,
You're absolutely
but then I'm also like, comic book movie. We're not even gonna like,
we can't do a think piece on that. We just
no,
gonna go with the flow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is the thing that I why would this be the thing that I care about? The man has wings on his ankles. Like
Yeah. And then a lot of people was criticizing the wings, like how they made them look. I didn't think too much of it.
I thought the wings looked fine. I would
Yeah.
love to see like somebody break it down, like what the supposed physics of that would be. That would just be fun, nerdy fun for me.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
like, I think the wings look good.
Right. I didn't think the wings looked like they were strong enough for his whole body.
But who knows how they work? I don't. Has anybody ever had any wings on their ankles? I
True.
don't. Like,
True.
are they connected directly to his calf muscles? I have no idea. Like,
Right. Like, I mean, do you have to hold yourself up like a hoverboard? Like, I mean,
how does that work? I have no clue.
yeah. Yeah, I think we're thinking too much into
Like
it.
insane clown pass, like insane clown posse and magnets. Like I just,
Yeah.
um,
But yeah. Yeah, so
but
what else?
the Talakans kidnap Shuri. Well, they're gonna take Riri, and
Yeah, they
Shuri's
were
like,
gonna take
"Wait, take me with you.
mm-hmm.
Take us to your leader, basically." And thankfully, she also has her Okoye beads, her her beads that can like translate the language. Like they can do everything, right? Pretty much. So we get to know what they're saying. They get to hear what she's saying in their language, which is really
Mm-hmm.
cool too. And so they're like, "All right, come on," and they take her to Talakana anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, while she's down there or whatever, she ends up building a rapport with Namor.
Before that,
Uh-huh.
we get to Wakanda and Okoye and Ramonda in the throne room.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot about that part. So, yeah. So Okoye goes back to Wakanda without Shuri, without Riri, and um without using cuss words, she got cussed out by Ramonda.
Listen, because Okoye's like, I can go get them. Go ahead and send me. And
Yeah.
everything Ramonda said was right. She was right.
She was 1000% right. And this scene is where Angela Bassett is going to get that Oscar nomination. You heard it here first.
I hope
This is
so. She better.
where
She needs
she's going
to.
to get that Oscar nomination. She has to. Because this scene right here, if you don't feel nothing else that Kareem Wamanda says in this whole movie, you're going to feel her on that scene. Because that's when that's when you feel all the pain and all the mourning from her husband to her son and now potentially her daughter. She don't have nothing.
And this is what also like was part of this is played in the trailer where she's like, "Have I not given everything?" And like
Right,
even when she says it in the trailer, I was like, "Oh," like you could
right,
just feel it, you know.
right,
And
right.
she's telling Okoye like, because Okoye is like, Okoye's saying, like, "I've given everything for this. Let me die for my country. You know, this is what I. It's the only thing that I want to do is let me make it right." Da da da. And Ramonda's like, "No, in fact, you're fired. You failed me too many times." Because remember, Okoye went with the Dora Milaje and supported Killmonger when he won, and Ramonda had to sit back. Her, not only her, or her and the elders, because she does make that point that her and the elders did the same thing, and she's like, you did that. You backed the wrong
But
horse.
I don't think that that should be that in particular shouldn't be held against her
Well, it's
because
just a part of her pattern of, making wrong calls, calling wrong shots.
it's not. But I don't necessarily think it's a wrong call because
It
her.
was a wrong call
But no, this is the
for
thing.
Ramonda.
Yeah, she can look at it as a wrong call, but in all actuality, it wasn't a wrong call because she pledged to the throne. She didn't pledge to the person. So
Hmm.
if Killmonger is the king, then he's on the throne, and my pledge is to the throne.
Yeah, no, you got to be flexible. Like a lot of some of the themes in not only this movie but also Wakanda, I mean Black Panther, is that you need to abandon tradition when it no longer serves you. Just because it's traditional does not make it right. And what Okoye did was not right. Just because it was traditional, that doesn't make it okay.
But I mean, he rightfully took the throne. It wasn't like he came in there with a gun and put it to T'Challa's head and said,
He
"Give me."
would have if he could have.
But he did it the right way though.
So,
He
and
wasn't
that
trying
doesn't
to
mean she still
fair
has to
and
support.
square.
She doesn't
He,
still have to support him. She
I'm one of
doesn't.
those,
She
but
can make
that's
the personal choice to not do that. And she
but that's the
decided
thing.
to not, she decided to go with tradition. That was her choice. That was her choice. Ramonda
That she pledged to the
is
throne.
right to say you made the wrong choice. And I had to sit here and you were still general. Even after you made the wrong choice, I still kept you general. Now you convinced me to let my only remaining child, family member, go out into the world. You promised me you would protect her. You came back empty handed.
Yeah,
You fired.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that that was wrong for what she did, because I mean, you convinced me to give you my child, and you come back without her, and we don't know what the hell they doing with her. You know what I'm saying? So I totally understand, and this ain't the first time. And granted, she did, stick up her husband for the throne, but in the same breath, it feels like you're failing at your job at this point, and I can't take that chance no more. So
And
I
then I
get
can, I can imagine like hearing Ramonda hearing Okoye say she had given everything, right? And Ramonda makes the point where you can still go see your traitorous husband if you want to.
right.
My family is dead.
Period. I get it. I get it. I'm not saying I don't get it. However, it is her position. She pledged the throne. Killmonger got the throne fair and square. He didn't go about it no silly ass way. He got the throne fair and square. So
And you sat there and supported him, and you sat there and let him burn
had
all the
to.
heart shaped herb
I'm
up,
like, what you do?
girl. You let him burn all the heart shaped herb up.
What was she supposed to do? He's the
But
king.
that's you're supposed to do what's right for Wakanda.
Her pledges to the throne.
And that's the thing though. Like, I mean, she pledged her throne. She kept that pledge. That pledge got her in trouble because it was not the right thing to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, eventually. You know what I'm saying? But what if Killmonger still was, you know, still was the king? Then what, you know?
She would still be
So
wrong.
Michael
She would still be wrong.
so Michael W says, if you do it the right way with nefarious, vengeful means, how right was Killmonger and how right was Okoye for pledging to the throne. Hmm. Some people do make that argument that Killmonger was right. I'm one of those
He
people
was
that don't
not.
necessarily. I'm one of those people that don't necessarily look at him as a villain. Now, how he got to Wakanda may be up in the air. However, how he was treated in Oakland was
Oh
dead
yeah.
ass wrong.
Oh,
So
100%. Ain't no escaping that.
yeah,
However, Nakia was the one who was right the entire time.
yeah,
She made the argument for what T'Challa eventually came to as the conclusion in like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
yeah.
He tells him, other countries are doing these things for these people. We can do what they do and we can do it better.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, nah, nah, nah. And then eventually at the end of the movie, he's like, we should be doing these things these other countries do.
Right. It's just like, right.
If you had
But
just
yeah.
listened to the kid, like, you know what I mean? But it's also like coming to terms
Mhm.
with the wrong decisions that your family, your ancestors made, and chickens coming home to roost and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. So Michael says what Maria just said. So
I mean,
yeah.
and that's one of the things that I love about these movies is that the villains or the antagonists make points, right?
Yeah, they make great points.
They make points, but I'm not
Point.
about to give them flowers for all that, like, because other people also made those points. But they also decided not to like become a killer for the CIA and try to stabilize the government, and like all that kind of stuff. Even though they
Yeah.
did him absolutely wrong, they did him absolutely wrong and dirty.
Yeah. Right. And you can't be mad at the way that he retaliated. Like you cannot dictate somebody's reaction to your action. He
Yeah,
watched his father die at the hands of his father's brother and then was abandoned to deal with
abandoned.
the man. You know what I'm saying? So um what's his name? T'Chaka. He
Hmm.
created this. He
Oh
started
yeah.
this gangster shit. You know what I'm saying? So he's the fault. He's at fault for how Killmonger turned out
Hmm.
and what
100%.
Killmonger did and all that type of stuff. That's King T'Chaka's fault. You know what I'm saying?
But
So
again,
like we gotta go
Okoye
back to
saw what
that
was
thing.
happening. Okoye knew who he was. Okoye knew how bad this would be for Wakanda, and Okoye didn't move.
Because Okoye pledged to the throne.
It's wrong. It's inflexible. That inflexibility will result in consequences like getting fired.
Possibly.
Well, she
But
got fired. But it's also a really good setup because there's going to be a Dora Milaje TV show coming to Disney Plus. It's going to be done by Ryan Coogler and Okoye, and then also
I heard
Aneka
of
is
yeah,
going to be. I believe Aneka's going to be in it as well. I hope so because they didn't do a lot with her here. Um,
yeah,
but yes, I'm
yeah, I
looking
heard of
forward to that. Also, the robes that the queen is wearing in the scene, this red robe and dress with all these jewels and embroidery. I was sick, sick. It's so
yeah.
stunning. And then also the performance with the Guerrero, she's like crying and she's like, "Please, mother." I'm like, "Oh God," well, it like I feel her, but then also, you betrayed me for Eric, but you want to call me mother, girl, whatever. Like, you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's such a great scene. It was phenomenal.
yeah. Yeah, it was an awesome scene. If she don't get nominated, we gonna have a problem. But
Her
Michael W said,
Letitia,
yeah. Oh, Michael says, side note, Namor about to be a problem for the MCU.
I can see that. Now, I don't know
Uh,
that much about Namor, but I've seen like people talking about like how petty he is in the comics. Like he's very petty. And there's
now,
also this whole thing with him like being in love with what's her name? Reed Richards' wife, Susan Richards. Yeah, in the comics. So we'll see
oh,
how
okay.
that goes in the movie.
Well, speaking of Namor and his love interest, when how did you feel about the interaction between him and Suri?
It was a seduction, but it was about power. It was not about I'm interested in you. It was a romance kind of thing.
Mhm. Do you think it was like low key working?
I think it could have, but he was just so very kind of hard headed, like just so like it's my way, period, inflexible again, right?
Yeah, yeah, he was definitely inflexible. I felt like they could have came to a happy medium.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it would have been cute for them to like ride off into the sunset.
maybe, but I did not get that kind of vibe necessarily. It's for me, like he was definitely like, oh girl, let me get you this new dress. Here, have some food. Let me give you this, bracelet that belongs to my mother. Let me show you around the town. It's
Mhm.
very that, but it's not like because I'm really interested in you. We should merge our kingdoms and like, But it's like because we should make an alliance because we care about our people.
Yeah, it felt like he was kind of low key trying to pull on her heartstrings to
Oh,
show
for sure. Yeah,
show
because he
everything.
wants to show her what he's protecting.
Right, exactly,
Yeah, I mean
exactly.
that makes total sense to me. And then also, I mean, there's two. There's also like these. They have two very different experiences as these closed off countries, right? So Wakanda has never dealt with colonization or anything like that.
Mhm.
While Namor seen it firsthand, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
that's very different, two very different experiences. And Wakanda is much more about diplomacy, right? They like to do the diplomacy thing. That's why we see them like in the UN all the time giving speeches and stuff, right?
Hmm.
It's not they're afraid to fight, but let's try this diplomacy first and see how that goes.
Yeah,
um, and Talokan is not really that way, right? Based on this movie,
yeah, they're completely closed off.
they're like, let's just fight about it.
Yeah, yeah. So Michael says, but Namor is power hungry despite his infatuation with Shuri.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. That's that's like the top of the list for him.
Hmm. And he doesn't trust anyone, and he doesn't
Yeah,
trust them,
right.
because
Or does he always listen
mhm,
to reason? Basically, what you were about to
because
say.
exactly because Shuri is like, well, we'll just keep the scientist, make sure she can't leave, you know.
Mhm.
And he's like, no, I can't trust that. And it's like, well, this is like the easiest option out of everything. We don't have anything to gain by telling people you exist because we don't want anybody else having, vibranium either.
Right.
So we'll just keep the scientists so they can't find it. He's like, no, that's not gonna work. Sir,
Yeah.
why not?
He wanted it his way, and that was just
Right,
what it was. You know.
right.
So
But we also let's see, we all work on track. So she fires Okoye and everything, and it's very it's sad because you can feel it all. Like you get
mhm.
everybody's motivations for what they're doing and why they feel the way they do. And it's heartbreaking to see Okoye cry. Like, she has such big tears and everything.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, how did you feel about the tears? Because Queen Ramonda and Okoye both had a tear.
because they were both crying for lots of different things, right?
Yeah.
For the things that they've lost, the things that they're losing, you know. So just their feelings being that intense,
Yeah.
Yeah, Namor
Uh,
had Killmonger tendencies, but Namor, I'm sorry, Michael W. says that Namor had Killmonger tendencies.
mhm.
And yes, this is true. The only thing is that Namor cares about his people as a whole.
Well, Killmonger felt like he was betrayed by his people, which he
Yeah,
was.
he felt like he
Yeah,
was betrayed by his people, but the thing is, his idea was to be an imperialist, right? Because he directly quotes Britain, the sun will never set on the Wakanda Empire. Oh no, 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 no.
yeah. But but yeah. Back to this tier. Um, I I get the tears because it was very heartfelt. And it was painful. It
Mhm.
was painful. Um, but I wish they would have done it without tears.
I don't think it's possible because there's just so much they're holding back that they're just finally kind of releasing, especially from Ramonda's side, right? Like her whole speech is about these things that have happened to her that Okoye might have had a hand in, like things Okoye can do that she can't do, and she's probably not expressed this before. So having to express all of this and like basically revisiting all these emotions and also dealing with the fact that her family is gone, not knowing where Shuri is, what's happening to her. Yes. I can't like
I get it.
water I can't see that not happening without some water in your eyes. And
No,
then Okoye feeling like she's failed. Period.
right,
And not once but twice. like, you
right,
know, and
right. No,
losing this thing she's fought so hard to have, like you know I can't see going through that scene dry-eyed. I can't see it.
well, my thing is
It's
is
unrealistic.
it unrealistic or not, I just feel like they should have done it tierless because of the whole woman thing about it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
if you were to exude like say for instance if you're in a relationship and you were to exude emotion of a tier or two
Mhm.
or 15, it always kind of, well, not always, but it kind of gets dismissed like, oh, that's a girl crying, whatever.
That's not my problem, that's his problem.
I get that, but we do have men watching as well, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel
I don't
like
care.
like I get it, but I just feel like I shouldn't have did that. I that's just
I Yeah, no, but nah, yeah, no, they totally should do that because women are human people who have emotions as well. If you're going to like say, "Oh, how dare she have an emotion regarding this," and like show it physically, like I can't help you, and I'm not gonna cater to you.
right. No, I understand your thought process, and I do agree to a certain extent. It's just because of the way it's perceived. Like if it was two men talking and they would have had a tear, then I would have accepted that more than a woman because it just seems like we all we are always looked to be the more emotional of the two.
But whose
So
fault is that? Who made up that? Who said that was a thing?
I didn't write the rules. Now I didn't
I
write
know,
the
but I'm
rules.
saying who did.
I know who wrote the rules. But
So why should we
I
cater to
just
the
feel like
rules?
because I didn't want that scene to be dismissed. I didn't
But if
want
the
them to
scene
be
is
like, oh,
dismissed
they're
by
crying.
people who believe in the rules, even though the rules are bull,
The rules are bull on
so why
occasion
cater to them? Why cater to them? Why pretend like they have any actual value when they don't?
because I don't want the point to be dismissed.
But why
That's
do
why.
you worry about them? Who cares about them?
Goodness. All right. All
I'm
right.
sorry. I just like if you're gonna think that way about that, not you, but like in general,
Yeah.
if someone's gonna think that way about that scene, I can't help you, buddy. I feel like you're gonna have more problems with the rest of the movie, even if they hadn't cried. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah. Yeah. That person that would have dismissed that probably had a lot of issues with the movie.
yeah, so
So yeah.
I don't have the time to worry about that person. I just can't. What their perception is, how they react. Give me the good story. Give
Yeah,
me the emotions, right?
yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it. But yeah, but that's what my thought process was when I
Yeah,
saw the scene. But I mean, I totally get it. That was a lot going on. You know
yeah.
what I'm
No,
saying?
I've had thoughts like that too with other things, but I was also like, but I'm watching this movie. This like, yeah, this is for me.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so Okoye had to go back to being a civilian.
Hard,
Yeah,
hard. Ugh.
yeah, that was very hard. That was very hard. And then we see Queen Ramonda go to Haiti,
Mhm.
and
And she's
they
giving her
say
best
it a different
Winnie
way.
Mandela. Oh, her look. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, they say Haiti. They pronounce it a different way.
It. No,
Haiti.
no, she's no H. They're like
Um, AIT.
no. IT.
IT.
Yeah, kind of like IT, basically. But
Oh, okay.
um,
I just noticed it was different. I was like,
it is different.
yeah,
Yeah, it is different. You know, because you got that like French kind of thing going.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, yeah. So she goes over to IT, and
You can say Haiti, it's
right,
fine.
we're in America. We're gonna pronounce the H. So,
Yeah, because I'm gonna butcher the accent, so let me not. Let me just do that. Like,
Lord, I ain't even gonna attempt. But so she goes over there, and this is when we are reintroduced to Lupita Nyong'o's character. What was her name?
Nakia
Nakia. That's right. And sidebar, Lupita is like one of the most beautiful women on this earth.
on Earth. She looks like a little. When they have her in the white, I was like, is she getting married? Is she an angel? No, it's a funeral. Damn, she is just like one of the most beautiful people ever.
Ever. And I never paid attention to her until the first Black Panther. Like I knew who she was, but just
Mhm.
I've never really paid attention to her beauty to the first one. But Michael W says 2 points from that scene from a guy's perspective. There are dudes who see her crying and think she's being extra emotional. But if she would have been stone faced, there would be a segment of dot dot dot. Guess we'll get the second half in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get the second half in a minute. But
Yeah. But that's what I was saying. Like the dudes would think that she's being extra emotional, and they would be dismissive. That was my point in that. Okay, so here goes
yeah,
the second.
yeah.
Uh, so there would be a
But if she would
segment
have
of
been stone faced, there would have been a
yeah.
segment of men.
If she would have been stone faced, there would be a segment of men, sexist men, who would have viewed it as a cold hearted dot dot dot.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, she
So
don't
you
really care
can't
about
win for losing.
hell like that. You know exactly. You can't
Yeah,
win for losing, so just do what you want to do.
do what you want, right? Basically, at the end of the day, yeah. So tears it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
get that out your system. So you feel better once you purge. But yeah, so yeah. And Kia, the assassin, she goes over to Haiti and she talks to her, tells her, I need you to go get Shuri. Now,
Did you
another side.
notice? Did you notice the boy was in the scene?
I did not. I
Hmm.
did not, because I didn't remember what he looked like when I saw it the second time. I didn't remember what he looked like.
Oh,
So,
I did. Yeah.
but sidebar, did you
Mhm.
see how pivotal Angela Bassett is in that scene?
I'm sorry. How what?
Did you see how pigeon-toed Angela Bassett is in that scene?
No. I did not notice. I
That
was too busy looking
stuck
at the way at the hem of the jacket and the hem of the dress and how they were different and like the style of the shoes. I was not I did not pay attention to that.
And see,
Miss
that's
that.
the thing. I was looking at all that, and while I was looking at the shows, I was like, "Damn, she is pigeon-toed. Like she is super pigeon-toed."
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with the movie, but
I
yeah,
missed it.
that stuck out like a sore thumb to me.
And her outfit
So
really kind of recalled to me kind of like a Winnie Mandela kind of outfit.
yeah, It did. It did. Michael W. also says, you couldn't win with that scene in folks' reactions. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that describes a lot of the reactions to the movie. To be honest with you, but yeah.
And that's what I said as well, because there was a whole campaign to recast T'Challa and whatnot.
Hmm.
And um they chose not to, even though his brother came out and spoke and said that Chadwick would want them to recast. They
Hmm.
opted not to. But I just feel like, there was a segment of people that, or there was a population of people that wanted him recasted, and there was also a population of people that didn't. It didn't matter which way they went; they was not going to win everybody over. It. That's just
Hmm.
what it is. So they just
Yeah,
had to go with what they felt was best.
and everything had already been delayed due to COVID.
Right,
They had gotten him like the script for the movie right before he passed. So now
right,
they have to redo everything. And
right.
imagine trying to recast for such an iconic role where somebody passed away, was well beloved, trying to
Mm,
fill those shoes, trying to get that audition, do screen tests, do chemistry tests. You having to rewrite the movie anyway. Feel like,
right.
time, money, like I don't really think it was that feasible, to be honest. But also, it wouldn't have mattered what decision they made. People would be mad about it either way.
Either way, and low key, if I was an actor, I wouldn't even want that.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? That would be career suicide.
Like, I feel like that would not be a smart move because, like,
At all, at all, at all.
and like what they said, what I recall them saying anyway, is that they weren't going to recast him in this movie. In this movie.
Right,
In this movie. Other movies, they didn't address.
right.
So to me, that said, oh, they're going to recast him later. Like,
Or maybe making a cartoon or something like that, like how they did What If.
yeah, what if he was in What If, but it was him from a different universe, right? And so, Phase 4 has been all about that, different dimension hopping, incursions, and then also you have the show Loki on Disney Plus, where they kind of like really start to get into that. So you have all that happening. So I could just like, they're definitely going to do it. It's just going to be, a completely unexpected route because it has to be, but they're going to do it at some point.
Yeah, yeah, I think so as well. Um, I've heard several people point that out. They said this movie,
Hmm.
so and they know what they're saying when they say it. So
Yeah, and like if you're familiar, well, if you're very familiar, I guess, because I watched so many videos about Marvel and all this stuff,
mhm.
with their like the way they do their PR and things like that, they'll leave things out intentionally, or they'll be vague about things intentionally. So you really just have to listen closely to what it is they're saying or not
Mm,
saying to try
yeah,
and figure out what the truth may be.
right, 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 right. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see moving forward how they are going to handle this,
Mhm.
because this was definitely a big loss. But yeah, so back to Haiti. She speaks with Nakia, lets her know like, hey, this is what's going on. I need you to go get Shuri. This is where she's at. Can you do it? She's reluctant, but she does agree. So she goes to Mexico. Um, and she
And she gets a
talks.
little spy on, and I love it. Like I would love like a whole little series of her war dog adventures. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. But she like poses as like a student, I think, and
yes.
she ends up talking to a local who reluctantly talks to her and lets her know about the legend of the Talican,
Mm-hmm.
and so she gets more information
Cool
that
Khan.
right of Kukulkan, and so she gets more information that way, and then she goes on ahead and puts on that suit, and she gets in water. Um, yeah, and then she goes and rescues them. She shoots a couple of the women that were surrounding them.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Now
and
the first shot I understood because that was a warrior getting ready to throw down. And I
yeah,
was like, dang, I wish she couldn't. I wish she could have at least saved the other girl, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But
That
okay,
second one, yeah, that one kind of stuff.
that's an extraction. You know, you got to move quickly, right?
Right.
Because at this point we have Ramonda also in somewhere else because she's not in Wakanda at this point, but she's somewhere else and um, she's called Namor to come speak with her because you know because they're the whole thing with like I want my daughter back, da da da. You know, he's like, well, no, it's not happening. We're gonna fight the whole surface world. We're gonna burn it down. You know, and either you can join us or you can burn with it. Whatever, you know, just like all that stuff. So
Hmm.
while that's happening, that's when Nakia's down there trying to extract Shuri. But before this, we had this whole scene with the scenes that we were talking about, like the whole kind of like political seduction kind of thing um, with Namor and Shuri. And then we also get to see Talokan, and it's really cool. I love the way these scenes were shot. They
Yeah,
were, it was dark, but it was, you could still see. You
yeah.
got to see like they have a market, they're playing, you know, like this traditional game that, you know, that I've seen before. And they're, you know, there's just people living their lives underwater, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and that's great. And then like Kia comes in, she gets Shuri, she gets Riri out of there, and Namor makes this announcement on his throne. This giant shark's you know mouth with these teeth that look just like the sharpest, you know, and it's
Hmm.
like so great. And he has on his traditional like feathers and everything. He looks amazing. He's doing the, you know, everybody does their little salute, right? Um, and that the shark jaws are like they're a physical like prop element on set, so it was not like CGI or anything, which was amazing. I did not think they would do that,
Hmm.
but um, you know, there's been a lot of this is kind of a sidebar about visual effects. So there's been a
Yeah.
lot of like issues with Marvel and visual effects. They've been extremely hard on their visual effects team, really overworking them and not being able to get the best work out of them because of that. So you can see in a lot of the more the Phase Four and some of the Disney Channel shows, like their CGI is not doing what it needs to do. It's not the CGI from 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It did not look great. But in this film, um, they do a lot of different kind of camera tricks to get around that and make it look good, right?
Hmm.
You can still like, oh, this is CGI, but this actually looks fine. Like it looks
Hmm.
good. They do a lot of the kind of this thing where like your focus is kind of in miniature almost, and everything else is kind of blurry around the edges, but it looks good. You saw that a lot with like the Sherlock Holmes TV show. Um, but yeah, back to Metallica.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty cool though. That they kind of like eased up on the CGI team.
I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if Ryan Coogler just decided to make some decisions, you know, to like try and we need to make this look as best as we possibly can. Um,
Hmm.
the VFX workers, the CGI artists, they're probably gonna have to unionize because you know corporations do not want to give you room to be human. So
Right. 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 They really don't. but but yeah, so yeah, so Nakia does rescue Riri and Shuri and takes them back to Wakanda. Now what now what did you think about her rescuing them? Like just do you think that she kind of messed up the plan by
no,
rescuing them?
no, she did what she had to do as a spy, like as a war dog.
Yeah.
She did what she had to do. She, you know,
Well, no, I
I
know she
mean,
did what she was supposed to do,
mhm.
but well, maybe not necessarily her messing up the plan, but do you think Queen Ramonda probably messed up the plan by getting Nakia to rescue
I
them?
don't know what else she was supposed to do. Like,
Right,
you
right. But it just seemed like they were so close to brokering a deal, and then bam.
The only thing I think that could have maybe changed that is had the second girl she shot not have died, right?
Mm, okay.
But that just wasn't possible because like she had to get her out of there. Period.
Right,
Her
right.
job is to come an extractor, and the girl had a knife to her throat, to Shuri's throat. She's like,
Yeah.
you know. But then also Namor is kind of like itching to go, you know.
Hmm.
And I wondered like, because she was like, "Can you heal me?" He doesn't really say anything. He doesn't really answer that question.
Yeah.
Now, Nakia's like, well, at this range, it's not going to happen, right? But we
Hmm.
don't really know what Namor's powers are or capabilities are, or what Talakan's capabilities are in regards to healing a wound like that. Because we've seen them, you know, be very wounded and get back up, you know. So it's just kind of unclear. I'm like, if he could heal her, would he? Or does he want a reason to go to war?
Yeah. Yeah, that I mean
And
that statement
but
was significant. So I was wondering it too, like, is he just gonna let her die? But then he let her die. And I'm like, well, could
yeah,
he have saved her?
right. But we just don't know about that kind of power set for them. So I'll just take it
Like
on the
it just
movie's
like
word
he didn't
that.
even try.
Well, the thing is, I was gonna say I'm taking on the movie's word, right? Because Nakia is like at this range, no, not even our Kamoyo bees can help, right?
Yeah.
And they do like everything, right?
Right.
So I'll take her word for that. And then also, he has such a fierce love for his people. I don't think he would have just like it going on Louis' word, such a fierce love for his people, he wouldn't have just let her die.
Yeah.
But if the Kamoyo beads couldn't do it, I can't. We don't know if anything else in Marvel could. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean it's just the way that it played out. And with
Yeah.
her saying that,
Mhm.
it just
Created that doubt.
yeah. Yeah. I'm like, okay, could he have? Why is he not acting like he's trying? Like, what's
Hmm.
going on here? So that left questions in my head watching that. Um, but yeah, but yeah, they get out of there with the kids' help or whatever, and they go back to Wakanda, or they go to
Hmm.
Wakanda rather, with Riri's first time in Wakanda. Um,
Now, what
she
do you
won.
think about Riri as a character?
Um, I mean, it was cute, but it got to the point where she just was not there. It
She,
just
I
she
mean,
just
like the writing of her character.
yeah, like I mean, because like I said before, I've watched other people's reviews and they've been critical about her being in the movie.
Hmm.
Like everybody understands the reason why she's in the movie,
Hmm.
but I can see people's points on why they were annoyed with her being in the movie,
Hmm.
the way that she was written into the movie. But it seemed like at a certain point of the movie, she was very intricate to the plot, and then she just fell in line with everybody else, like she'd been there after so long. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
shoot.
Huh?
Again, I'm not. I said I would too, but again, I'm never leaving Wakanda. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
But
For
I mean,
me, it was like her character was a little one note, right? We didn't get too much with her character, but then
yeah.
again, we're not supposed to, for various upcoming Marvel projects. Like I get that, but it's also kind of annoying
Yeah.
that they would do that for to her. But yeah.
It seemed like they had already wrote the script, and then Marvel was like, "Hey, throw in Ironheart."
Oh, 100%. Like, well, I don't know about I already read the script, but Marvel definitely is giving them a list of you have to have this, we need this, they got to say this, they got to do this because this sets it up for this and that and this coming forward, right?
Right, right,
Because like the whole line where she's got an Iron Man suit, like
right.
we were gonna see that like in two
Yeah.
seconds. You really didn't actually have to say that, but you wanted to tie it back to Iron Man, and then we have it where she's working on her new suit in Wakanda, and she's hammering the suit. I'm like, with all the tech in Wakanda, you really got to use a hammer? I feel like that's probably not necessary, but it's
Yeah.
calling back to Iron Man, right? Uh,
Hmm.
so like I get it. I just wish we were able to get like slightly more, a little bit more. But again, this movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes. So
Yeah. Right.
hmm
Michael W says I was indifferent to Riri.
yeah, they
Yeah.
did not do a lot to have you form an attachment with her much. And I
Right.
remember thinking, I really would have liked, again, I would have liked more scenes or more lines anyway between her and Okoye and her and Nakia and Shuri, like those, like as a group, because that way you kind of get more of a dynamic, and that way you get to like more, you get to know a little bit more of who she is and what she cares about.
Hmm. Yeah. Because the setup with her was really good.
Hmm
I would have liked to have seen a scene, which it maybe there is a scene that's on the cutting room floor. But I would have liked to have seen a scene between Riri and Okoye after Okoye is a civilian
Just
and Riri,
chilling. She could be
yeah,
showing her around or something, like
not even necessarily showing her around, but I could see Riri going to wherever she is, and just talking to her on the same level, and Okoye just kind of like letting her know what the real deal is. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
Just telling her to brace herself because this is about to be a ride,
Yeah. Now,
and
when they
being
do get, I'm sorry, go ahead.
or just being happy and embracing her because she sees that she's alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could have been happy with seeing a scene like that because when they initially met, it was on some elevated fighting type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you know. But what were you gonna say?
I don't remember.
But yeah.
Oh, I remember. But when they do give her room to like be emotional, like when we see towards the end of the movie, where they show her the car and they tell her, everything, and she talks about the car, what it means to her and stuff like that. Like it works. We just don't get like enough of that throughout the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we don't get too much. Like we get her in the big fight scene, but after the first, well, what is it? The second fight scene, we don't really get her too much.
But it's because she's working on her suit for like most of the movie, right?
Right.
And she's pretty much only there for the fight scenes.
Right. Right. So so yeah.
Yeah, because we even could have had something like Shuri talking to her about her brother and how she feels and like whatever, and it would have made sense because she's a stranger who doesn't have the connections like everybody else in Shuri's life does. So it would have been easier for Shuri to open up to her or tell her something, whatever. Could have had something like that. That would have been cool too. But
right. And they could have leveled with each other because she lost her stepdad, right?
hmm
So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I that was a missed opportunity.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so what happens next?
So we get to Wakanda. Oh, Namor's declaring war. You know.
Yes.
Also, during this time, we have Everett Ross found the beads on the bridge. He's been talking to Wakanda, trying to find out what's really going on. They won't tell him about Talokan. They just tell him it wasn't us who did this thing. Y'all need to figure it out,
Hmm.
basically.
Right.
Um, so he's doing that with the CIA. Um, Shuri's home now. She's got the bracelet that Namor gave her. Namor tells his story of like how his people were being colonized by the Spanish. They were dying of smallpox. One of them had a vision, had a dream about this water, this plant in the water. Went down and got it, gave it to him. They had the same kind of experience that you have in Wakanda when you take the heart shade herb. You die, and come
Hmm.
back, and that's how they became water people to escape that. He was really close with his mother. She passed away. He went to go bury her where she used to live. That was her one request. And when he gets there, he finds a plantation,
Yeah.
and there the people are being whipped, they're being worked, they're being chained, all that kind of stuff. And of course, he it makes him angry, and they attack the plantation. They burn it down, and it feels so great to see.
Yeah.
And he buries his mother in the traditional way, because we see her burying somebody else too. So he buries her in the same way. And there's this priest out there, who's like, "Oh, you're," because he sees Namor and he sees him flying. He's like, "You're a devil. You're a child without love," and that's how he got the name Namor, right?
Hmm.
Which, which is one of the things that's so like one of the facts that I love about this so much is in the comics, his name is Namor because it's just Roman backwards. That's it.
Okay.
Because they wanted to like get it tied to like kind of Roman thing, so that's why his name is Namor. But they made it really mean something in this movie.
Mhm.
So I like that a lot. So we get that, and then Shuri's got the bracelet that he gave her. She's synthesizing. Well, not yet, but she's got it, and she's back home, and Namor's making that announcement that we're going to war, and they go to war. They go to Wakanda. Somehow they get in again. We have not worked on our security systems. I don't know what's happening. Uh, and they attack Wakanda with all these water bombs. All their, and it's not even like their whole army, right? It's a,
Yeah, that's the killer part about it.
it's a small army, and they use the same kind of tactics they used before. So you have the sirens, and all that happening, right? So, and they're able to disrupt them, because if you just like kind of they throw a bomb at them, but if you disrupt the song, it disrupts what's happening. Um, so they do that, and Okoye is in a plane, a ship, airship with Aneka, trying to get this all together, trying to save people from the water that's rushing in, bursting through the walls. Children are by themselves, and like, all that kind of thing. And so they're trying to make sure they're safe. Namor's come up through the water. He is super fast, right? They can't really lock on him. He moves extremely quickly. He's extremely strong, right? So we see Namor on the shore with like his closest guards, right? And the Wakandas are shooting at them. This is part of in the trailer. Wakandas are shooting at them. His guards leap into the water. He stays there, right? He doesn't move. He's not scared.
Right.
And um, M'Baku sees him, and he's has heard these stories about this fish man, right, from Shuri and everything, and Okoye, uh, and he takes his stick, and he comes down on him, and Namor breaks it without even looking behind him, right. Namor punches him in the chest so hard, M'Baku changes his politics,
Yeah,
right.
you're right. Right. That was my
Because he's
thought.
like, we should kill him, what's to stop him coming back from or whatever. And he's like, what, maybe we should not.
Right.
Like,
Let's think about that. Let's
maybe
go back to the drawing board.
um, and it's devastating to the city. To Yeah, because the attack the capital is devastating. And he kills Ramonda. He tries he tries to kill Ramonda and Riri, because
Yeah.
they're both in the throne room looking at what's happening. And while everybody else is distracted with his warriors, he's looking for her. So he goes to her. He sees the two of them. He demands a scientist, and she's like, "No, get behind me. I'm protecting." And he hits them with a bunch of water bombs, destroys the throne room, creates a hole in the floor, which creates a tunneling effect with the water. They both sink down in there. They're drowning. Ramonda uh, gains consciousness, sees Riri, and is like swimming with her up to the opening to get them out of the water. But it's very exhausting, right? Particularly because of the clothes they have on, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, looking at her shoulders and arms, like, why is she having all this trouble? Like, it's not hard to lift somebody in water, right? Um, but again, that would be if you're wearing swimming suits.
Yeah. Yeah, their outfits was not water friendly.
No,
Michael W says he hit M'Baku's soul that with that
he
right
really did.
hand. Yeah, he did. He laid his ass out.
Hmm. And
But
so
yeah,
Ramonda dies rescuing Riri,
yeah.
because when by the time Shuri and Okoye can get up there, she's face down in the water.
Hmm.
And they're trying everything with the camellia beads, which apparently can do like defibrillations or something.
Hmm.
So they're like doing CPR, they're doing defibrillations. Right.
That is one hell of a beads. Can you imagine if they put them on the market to sell? How much them things was cost?
Oh no, you can't do that. No, they ain't no. You know. But that's the thing. Like, if the Camellia beads could not save Ramonda, they could not have saved that girl in Telecon. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's so sad. What did you?
Michael W says my stone face damn near shed a tear when Ramonda died. Man, and he said I was legit hurt.
I
You
was
know, a lot of
so
people
hurt.
were hurt.
I was so. I was like, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. No, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that, right? They're not gonna do. They do it. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I know when I said it a couple of times when I was in the theater, but when I got out of the theater, I was talking to my nephew, and I was just like, this second time hit harder than the first one," and he was like, "Yeah, it did."
Yeah.
Yeah. Still didn't cry, but it did hit hard. It did. It did really hit hard.
Oh man.
But
Because like
golly, like
Shuri just
we
lost
went through a lot.
everything.
We went through a lot with Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
Golly.
Because then we jump immediately to her funeral scene, which
Yeah.
I'm glad they gave her. Because you typically don't get that. If you're gonna do like one, you're not gonna get two, right? In a movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
but there's
but
no way after what they did for T'Challa that we was
they could do
not gonna get
nothing.
that
I was
for
so glad we got it. You know,
yeah. There,
um,
there would have been people like protesting outside of
in the streets.
studios. Like hell no, y'all gonna give that to the black man, but not the black woman?
Well, I
They
mean, she's queen, right? And
right.
she's like, yeah.
So we definitely had to get that. And then, given the fact that it's Marvel and they always like to pull on your heartstrings, we
Mhm.
had to get it, you know what I'm saying? So
And when the Moore attacks the throne room, and like Shuri is comes in and sees everything that's happening, he speaks to her directly, and he's
yeah.
like, "I'll be back in 7 days.
Hmm.
Give me the scientists. I'm bringing everybody. This is not even
Right.
my whole army." And he's like, "You're the queen now." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh God, that was the
They,
coldest line." I was like, "Oh God,
I was just like, dang, they ain't even stopped working on the queen yet. Why are you saying this? Can you
Jesus."
can we get a time of death before you start talking about
Do
that?
you want me to hate you? Because this is how I hate you.
Like, golly. I still had a little bit of
Cold,
hope when he said that.
cold.
Right.
You are the queen now.
Right. That was messed up.
Yeah.
That was messed up. That was one cold ass line. They
Hmm.
always got some cold. They always got some real cold ass lines in these movies. I know.
Yeah.
In the first one, when Killmonger was like, "Hey, Auntie," that one
Yeah.
was cold.
Yeah.
That one was cold. And then this one in Wakanda Forever. So shout out to the writers.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah. That was tough to watch. That was tough to watch. You know.
Mhm.
And I saw an article where they said that Angela Bassett, when she first read the script, she had went to Ryan Coogler and was like, "What are you doing? Like, we already had one death. Why are you killing me off too? You know?"
Right.
And he had to explain it to her, and then she
Yeah.
was on board. But
Because there also, I don't think there was too much more they could have done for her character.
yeah, and she
I mean,
and
there's always stuff I can dream of and would like to see, but in the
right, like, and then she had to die for Shuri to be clean. You know?
yeah, yeah, but
So
is
she had,
Shuri queen? Is she though?
well, who else is gonna be clean?
M'Baku might be king.
You thinking Baku gonna try to challenge her?
He showed up at the challenge, didn't he? And it was supposed to be her.
Did he show up to challenge?
No. Well, sort of, but she did not show up, right? She was supposed to be the one who was on the ship, not
Yeah,
him.
yeah. Right. But I
And
don't think he
then
showed up to challenge.
I think he showed up because he's king, because she's not going to challenge.
Mm,
I don't think she wants to be queen. She'd rather just be Black Panther.
mm. So you can be Black Panther and not be king or
Hmm.
queen.
Yeah, because that's what it was in Civil War, right? T'Chaka was king. T'Challa was Black Panther. He was not yet king. He didn't become king until Black Panther.
You're right. You're
And he
right.
had the powers of the Black Panthers stripped away.
Yeah, yeah. But but at the beginning, when they showed him in Oakland, T'Chaka was Black Panther.
T'Chaka was Black Panther and king at that time. And
So
when
he
he, as he got
became Black
older,
Panther at one point.
exactly, as he got older, T'Challa became Black Panther, and
Okay, so
T'Chaka was
Black
king.
Panther has an age limit, I guess. Get aged
But I
out.
mean, you see how old T'Chaka was.
Yeah. Yeah.
At some point you're like, this is a young man's game. So like,
Right. Right. Let me bow out. I'll just be king.
right.
So yeah. Um. So yeah. So whew, we have that.
Mm-hmm. We have the
That
funeral,
yeah.
and
That.
we have M'Baku talking to Shuri.
Mhm.
He's like, hey, the elders are scared and they want to move out to the mountains. What do you think? She's like, yeah, I can understand why they're scared. you
Mhm.
know, and if you let them come live with you, they'll be in great debt to you. Which is another way for him to become king, right? But
Mhm.
he shows that that's not really his concern. Like he knows it's a thing, but that's not really his concern because he also asks her like, how is her heart? Like which way is her heart leaning? What is she thinking?
Yeah.
And she kind of makes reference to the whole line of him saying that she's a child who doesn't respect tradition, and he basically tells her, because at first he's like, you got to grieve in the traditional way, and she's like, nah, this is not. That's not. He's like, okay. He's like, but the world has taken so much from you. You're no longer a child. I can consider you that. You've come into your own. You know, you're stepping up and taking the responsibilities. I see you in that way. Like we're equals in this. So he has a really great character arc from the first movie, right? He still has like that humor that he had in the first movie. He
Yeah.
still has that strength that he had in the first movie, but now he has more compassion and he has more wisdom.
Right. Right. He has a little bit more depth. He doesn't have enough screen time for me though.
I mean, honestly, it's gonna be hard in this movie. like,
Yeah.
I was surprised with the screen time that he did get.
I feel like he should have his own. Maybe he should have his own show on Disney Plus or something. But
Well, we know more is coming for him.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
we know
think they
that
realize.
more of story is coming for him. Let me make
Right.
sure.
I don't think they realized how much people would love him off the first one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but and then they tried to tell us like, oh, he's gonna have more screen time, and then like he had like one or two more scenes.
He did, but he also had that depth and that growth,
Yeah, he
which I
had
think
more
is like
depth.
super important.
Now,
Um,
some people have argued that they demasculate. I guess that's the word, demasculized.
Emasculated, I think, is probably the word.
Emasculated. Yeah,
You know how
yeah.
I feel about
My
that, right?
college
I've
used to
told
be
you
a
about that,
word.
right? To me,
Yeah,
emasculation is as real as reverse racism.
yeah, yeah. But people make arguments for both, and they have
People
been making
make
arguments about that.
people make arguments for a lot of things.
They do.
People make arguments for taking ivermectin. People make arguments for like all kinds of things.
Yeah, but I'm not one of those people that think that
Mhm.
they emasculated the
Well,
man in
to
this,
me,
but
it's just not possible. The only
yeah,
way emasculation can actually exist is if you believe that patriarchy is right and correct
hmm
and that nothing should challenge that. That's the
Right.
only way emasculation can actually exist.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't actually exist, just like reverse racism doesn't actually exist.
Right. Right.
Um, to make and also to say that about his character is really just kind of robbing him of that depth, because he's shown to still be strong. He's shown to
Hmm.
be more thoughtful, more compassionate, and he's shown to be wise. People look to him as a leader.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah. I didn't find a problem with it, but
No,
some people.
I'm sorry, I wasn't asking
No,
you
no.
specifically.
I know you're not asking me, but I know, like, watching other people's reviews and stuff, because I've watched people's reviews that loved it
Mm.
and hated it. So, the ones that were talking about the emasculation, they were just saying stuff about him being like kind of like a caricature or some type of way.
Of what?
Um, I guess of like probably like a real warrior. I guess, I don't know, but yeah. And then they were saying that he should have had more screen time. It would have made more sense for him to be king, and um, they were just saying a bunch of foolishness. But
Yeah, I
I
was.
just,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh, no, 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 go.
I was very, very, very selective about which reviews I watched.
Uh-huh.
Because there are so many misogynist out there,
Yeah,
and
I was
particularly with
very
this film,
curious.
like acting like their arguments make any actual sense with what the movie is doing. And I don't want to wait. It's gonna make me upset, and I don't
Mhm.
need to raise my blood pressure because I already know what you're gonna say. Like, you're
Yeah,
not gonna tell me anything new. You're not gonna say anything that's thought provoking. I know exactly what you're going to say.
yeah, yeah. See, for me, I was very curious because um, I think all the reviews I seen were men.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I saw was they were older men, and they absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loved it. They
Was that the
couldn't.
toast?
Double toasted, yes. Yeah.
Double toast. That's yeah. I watched
Uh-huh.
that one.
Yeah. They absolutely loved it. So I'm like, okay, cool. I go to
Yeah,
another one. He trashed it.
yeah.
Completely trashed it. Then I went to a third one. This person, he did several reviews
Oh
with
Lord,
with different
no.
panels. And I watched a couple of his, and he didn't trash it, but he it wasn't his favorite movie, but he didn't trash it.
That's fine.
And
I
then
mean, yeah.
yeah, and then he he went and saw it like several times, and he started to appreciate it more and more each time and whatnot. Then he
Mhm.
did another video talking about how people was bashing him.
Sir. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
he did
Okay.
several videos, but he did one video where he was talking about how people were bashing him about his opinion on it, and he was just like, "Well, I gave it. I think he gave it like a 7.5." And he
Yeah, a
was
lot of
like,
people gave it like a 7.5 or 8.
"Yeah," and he was just like, how can I hate the movie if this is my rating? So that
Yeah.
was a whole thing. And then the one that I was kind of shocked on his stance was Tyrone Magnus. Have you ever watched him?
No, never heard of him.
Oh, yeah, he's very popular. He does a lot of reaction videos, but I was surprised on his stance on it. He didn't really care for it. It was the whole men thing for him too. So yeah, and then he did another video because people bashed him about that too. So yeah, but there was this one guy I watched, Jody's Corner. He does a lot of comic book stuff,
Hmm.
and when I tell you, you would have thought he was gonna have a freaking heart attack. That's how passionate he gets about certain topics, because he gets so he hypes himself up so much that he just stops breathing, and he just has to,
Oh
and
no,
it just
I
sounds like
can't.
he was about
That's
to have
too.
a
That's
freaking. It's like he was about to have a freaking heart attack. But yeah, yeah. So it was just like the he trashed it, but I was just like, I cannot believe that these people feel this way about this. And then he did one. he did one video where because people was bashing his opinion. So he did one video where he had people call in to try to make a good argument.
He's a
You know,
debate bro.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
apparently nobody made a good enough
Because
argument.
that's the setup. It's a setup.
Yeah, yeah.
I watched Double Toasted. I don't always agree with Double Toasted. Honestly, sometimes they say some things I really do not like, but sometimes they have some really good stuff too. So I did
Yeah.
watch their review on that. I watched Ronda's review on that, of course. I watched uh, Adrian Expression's review on that because he's also really well versed in the comic book stuff as well, and he's very funny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I was pretty selective with the reviews that I watched. I did not watch any reviews by anybody who was not a person of color of the global majority. I did not watch any of those.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't either. That
Yeah.
wasn't on purpose though.
No. Well, for me, it was more like if it was like Screen Crush or something like that, I'm going to watch that because I know you're not on some BS. But like there were some reviews that I saw just the titles of like the racism in the movie or has fixed racism or da da da. I was like, I'm not even gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole, please.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I wouldn't either. Michael W says that traditional way went out the window when he got hit by that right hand from the Moore. LOL. He said, "Dude sounds like the equivalent of a shock jock."
oh yeah, the debate, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. He's extremely passionate about the MCU and
Mhm.
DC as well. He's
Yeah.
extremely passionate.
I can understand that passion, but I've just found like people who can sustain that level of passion and get like to the point where they're not breathing. It's like, okay, I need to.
Well, he's a big dude, so that might play a part.
Oh, I don't know. Like, well, I don't know. I've never seen his videos, but like, it can
Yeah.
be exhausting with people. I don't know how people can keep that kind of energy up the whole time. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah. But then we also have like at one point M'Baku is talking about Namor, and he's talking about how he's changed his mind that we should not kill him because his people consider him a god, and that's how you get into eternal warfare, which you do not want between two countries who have unlimited vibranium resources. This is
Right.
not
Right.
going to end well for
It
anybody.
was
And
it was
he's like,
still making sense.
and they're like, yeah, we read books, like. And I love that he said that. Like,
Right.
so Mbaku he's a fierce warrior. He's getting wiser. People are looking up to him as a leader, and he reads. And he's a vegetarian. Like, what is the problem? Like, it's like seems like a really really great guy, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to him being king.
Yeah, I think that's where they're headed.
Yeah, especially if we get more camera time. So,
But yeah, again, like this movie is the last one in phase 4, so it has to like wrap up things and then also introduce a bunch of new things.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
it has a lot to do. But I really do think that's where they're headed, especially when you get that conversation between him and Shuri where she's like, they'll be indebted to you. And then like at the end where he shows up on the ship that they expected Shuri on. I feel like she's like, I'm not gonna challenge you. You go ahead and take it. Like,
Hmm.
but so we
Yeah.
have this whole 7-day period between Namor's first and second and the second, like last battle. And so we have like a bunch of montage, going into montage, going through these 7 days, trying to recreate that heart shaped herb from the fibers in the bracelet uh, that was given to Namor's mother. Shuri's able to do that, and that's amazing. We also get the scenes of Riri building out her Ironheart suit, which is cute, but also like, do you really have to do a hammer, my girl? But it's fine, whatever. Maybe she just wants to be hands on. I don't know. Like, you know.
And
We
then
also
can we
get to
shout out? I'm sorry to cut you off, but can we
no
shout
sure.
out a song that they played during the montage? That's "Alone" by Burner Boy. That song is amazing. I've been playing it like crazy.
The soundtrack is phenomenal. It's so
Yes,
good.
yes.
Much better than the first
Like,
one.
you think so?
I did not like that first soundtrack at all
I was wondering why they didn't get Kendrick and
because
TDE.
it was not like I was like, you have so many opportunities for the soundtrack to like bring in more African artists, like and Afro beats was super popular. And then you also had what's his name who did Classic Man, Jandina. Like his father was a Nigerian like chieftain or something like that. I'm not sure. But like he was also really popular at the time. You could have had all of these sounds or whatever, and instead you get Slava Manab.
Point, point. I get you that. I get you that.
Yeah. Now
But
I love the song with SZA. There were a few songs on the soundtrack that I really did like, but
yeah,
most of the time I was like skip, 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 skip.
yeah, yeah. I get you that. I get you that. But yeah, but that freaking song with Burner Boy, like I am so in love with Burner Boy now.
A lot of
Like
people are.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, but yeah. But yeah, so that's honestly that's the main thing for the from the montage that stuck out to me was that song because I was like I
Mhm.
gotta go get that song. But but yeah, so we have this whole montage or whatever, them basically preparing for war.
Boss battle.
Yeah, and so then Shuri does come up with the flower. Um, she does recreate the flower so that she can talk to the ancestors. So Michael W does ask, ladies, your reaction to the interaction between Shuri and Killmonger.
Mm.
So
Right before we get to that, I
yeah,
do want to compliment Lupita Nyong'o for her acting as well. Um, like she doesn't get like a whole bunch of emotional scenes too much. She does get she gets that scene with Okoye where she's talking about what he meant to her and everything. And she does this really just great eye acting. And like when Shuri is able to synthesize the herb and come up, her surprise just feels like so real. Like
right,
she's just like it's just so great. But yeah, she
right,
takes the herb, and they're like, you know, Nikia's like, well, do you want us to bury you? Because that's what we do traditionally, right?
hmm
And she's like, no, just like stay by in case I go into cardiac arrest.
right. And Riri was kind of shocked, like, you're playing, right?
This is what y'all do? Right? Like, can
Like,
you imagine? I'm this outsider who came in here and now the last royal is dead. Oh God! Like,
right. Like, ain't nobody got time for none of this.
right? Let me leave the room so I can have deniability, please.
Like, right. So, yeah, so she takes the herb and she goes to meet the ancestors and she's expecting her mama or T'Challa and she gets Killmonger. What were
That's
your initial
another reason why her mother died, right? Because she can't see T'Challa. She would only be right. She can't see T'Challa because we don't have any more
yeah, yeah,
scenes.
got you. Okay. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. But yeah, yeah, you're right. She would have to die so that somebody could see her. Because you're
Mhm.
right, because we can't see T'Challa. So, what was your thoughts with Killmonger? Now, I did know a long time before that we was going to get Killmonger, just didn't know how.
I didn't, but also I had as the movie got closer to release, I stopped watching like speculation stuff because I didn't really want anything to be too spoiled for me, right?
Hmm
Um, but I had when the teaser trailer came out, I made a TikTok where I was like, "You guys, what if Namor found Killmonger in the ocean? You know, whatever." But it was just a joke. People took it way too seriously. Some people.
Well, somebody
So
got pissed.
yeah, so you stay away from Hollywood. Don't write anything. Da, 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 da. Y'all need to let him go. Blah blah blah. I was like, it is a joke. Like
That's
yeah,
funny. That's
like a
funny.
few because like a few like blogs like picked it up and ran with it, just like because like fun speculation piece kind of thing. But
Hmm
people on Twitter like had various reactions. Like y'all should know I am obviously kidding. Like um, but you know how people get.
hmm
Um, so when I saw him, I was shocked.
Yeah,
But I was like, ooh, that's such a great choice.
yeah, yeah. I I thought that was great writing as well. But like I said, I knew he was coming. I just didn't know where because it seemed like I heard he was gonna be in the second one, like way
Mhm.
early on.
Mhm.
But I was just thinking because we didn't get no body at the end that he didn't die, so we
Oh
was gonna
no,
get
he
him.
absolutely died.
Yeah, but you know how you have
That's
that.
I see what you mean. Nobody.
Nobody, he ain't
Yeah.
dead. So that's where my mind was going with it. But
Hmm.
um, no, he's dead. He's dead. But
Got
I
himself a fresh white fit, new
right
golds and
the
everything.
dreads was long and lustrous.
It's like
You know
he's
what I'm saying?
flourishing here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Death did a body good. You know. But yeah, so I do like what they did with the Killmonger character.
Hmm.
He came back at the appropriate time because Shuri's not in the place to accept anything that T'Chaka, or Ramonda would have ever said to her. You know what I'm saying? She's not in that space.
And she also had not been connecting with her rage and her grief about T'Challa's death at all. Because she did not set her clothes on fire when her mother did.
Right,
She still has them,
right,
right? So
right.
she hasn't been tapping into that. She's been denying that part of herself. And
She's been
Killmonger is there
suppressed.
to remind her, like, nah, girl, you going through this. Why do
Right,
you think I'm here? Right?
right. And it's in your blood because we first cousins. Hey,
Hmm.
cuz, you know.
I did really love the way that he gave it to Ramonda about like about her like basically doing what he wanted Wakanda to do, right? He's like she protected that child who was not Wakandan, you know. She didn't have to do that.
Yeah,
And you know, with your isolationist policies, your father would not have done that.
yeah, yep, yep, absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, yeah, I really did like that scene.
Hmm.
It totally made sense.
Hmm. I
It
love
totally.
the way it was shot too, where she like comes to like in the water, and when she pulls herself out of the water, she's completely dry.
You know, I noticed that that was a running theme through the whole movie, because like with the Talocan, when they come out the water, they're dry.
They're
Like if you
blue.
notice that
They're
more
also blue.
short,
Yeah.
but his shorts every time he came out the water, his shorts supposed to be drenched. That's cotton, and he was always dry.
Those are organic materials, sir. Like, that
His shorts are made out of vibranium. I guess I don't
has
know.
to be it.
Yeah, cause I really paid attention that second time, and I was just like, they're always dry. I don't understand. They come out of water. They've been submerged in water and they're dry. Nobody's like shaking off water or nothing. Like they're dry. So yeah,
But yeah. And you know, the fire in the throne room and everything, because it's her rage consuming her,
yeah,
you know. Um, I like that a lot.
yeah, yeah.
It
I
was
think
such a good scene. And it's not even like something you might have been thinking of, you know, like
right, exactly. I think that was one of the most thought out concepts of the
mm,
movie. Like I really appreciate that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan loves characters. He's always working like the you can in his movies, the characters and their relationships are like the big thing that he really focuses on,
Hmm.
which creates great story like every time. Because Black Panther was only his third movie.
Right. Right. So sidebar. Do you have any high hopes for Creed 3?
I'm interested because I know that Ryan worked closely with him on that,
Hmm.
right? Because honestly, to me, Michael B. Jordan is not that great of an actor.
Hmm. And that's a first.
Killmonger is his best role, but he's not that great of an actor. He's okay, which honestly is fine. We have so many like it's fine, right? Um, he's not that great of an actor. I've never been like too impressed with his performance and anything, to be honest with you. which is going to be interesting seeing him going up against Jonathan Majors, who is incredible at his job
Yeah.
and has been so from the very start.
Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan Majors is awesome. Jonathan Majors always reminds me of a period movie.
You're not the only person I've heard say this. So he basically kind of has like a classic face that you
Yes,
would see in like older movies or maybe older photographs. Somebody's grandfather who was really hot. Like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. He has that face for a period piece.
yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to not see him in a period piece because
Mhm.
it seems like that's what he was getting cast in a lot too.
No, I mean his first role was a modern role, right? The Last Black Man in San
Oh,
Francisco.
I didn't watch that.
It's so good. It's so good.
I saw like a
Um,
still from it
mhm.
because Danny Glover's in it too, right?
He is, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a still from it, but I never watched it. But I heard it was good.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Um, and then also like when I went to go see it the second time, I saw the trailers, and he was in two trailers. Like, so he
Yeah.
was in the trailer for Ant-Man, Quantumania, and then also Creed 3, right?
Yep. And then
And
he
he has
got that
another
movie.
movie out called Devotion right now. Like,
Right. Right. So yeah, he's working.
yes, he is working
Yeah.
because he was also in Loki, the show, right?
Oh, he was.
You got to catch up on
He
these
was
shows,
in.
girl.
He was in. What is that? Lovecraft Country.
He was in Lovecraft Country, yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
I
he
did
was
a
in Harder.
podcast on that one with my friend Megan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then he was in Harder They Fall.
Yes,
Real good in.
I like that movie.
Yeah, that was a real good movie. Um, what else? He was in a lot of stuff, but this ain't got nothing to do with Wakanda Forever. So, but,
Unfortunately, he is not in Wakanda Forever.
yeah,
But yeah, so Shuri takes the herb. She sees Killmonger. She comes back. She doesn't tell anybody who she sees. She refuses to discuss it. She thinks she hasn't gotten the powers because she saw Killmonger, and she punches like one of the prototype suits. She's been working on the Midnight Angel suit as well, but she punches one of the Dora Milaje suits, right, and it just goes flying into the wall. So we're like, well, dang girl, I guess you the Black Panther.
right.
You
It
know,
worked.
it works. And so she chooses her Black Panther uniform, outfit, costume, and it's got the gold of Killmonger, and it's got the silver of T'Challa to show that she's got that kind of combination going on, like this kind of turmoil within her, with these very influential points of view.
Mm-hmm.
So she puts that on, and she goes to Jabari land where everybody is like living now. And they're having a council meeting, and of course, like there are tensions because you have a ton of new people in your town,
Mm-hmm.
and so that always creates some problems or whatever. And she descends from the opening in the roof, and it's just like so cool. I love it when she descends down there and she does her superhero landing and everything. I love it. I
Yeah.
love that we're kind of using M'Baku as like the strength meter basically. So she like kind of like arm wrestles him a bit, and she's like right before she would definitely totally win, he's like, yeah, it's great. You're the Black Panther. It's great. um, and
Right before he tore his arm off.
right, I love that all of the elders come around her and like basically give her their blessing
Mm-hmm.
as the Black Panther. Again, something that you would not expect from any other Marvel film, something you probably did not anticipate even happening, but I'm so glad it happened, right? It's so great. Um, then she looks so cool. Like she's got her cornrows back, and they're wrapped up in like gold at the bottom and stuff. And the suit just looks excellent. And she asks to speak to M'Baku privately, and she is telling him basically, I'm going to kill Namor, and you need to be on board. And he's like, I don't think this is a good idea. Again, his people consider him, they call him cool God. They consider him a god. We can't, we have to think about the future of our people. You can't let this rage consume you, whatever. And she's like, I don't want to hear all that. Be ready at 7 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they also come up with this plan to, because they're like, what are Namor's weaknesses? We can't seem to understand, like, this power set he has. Like, what can we do? And so they figure out that, oh, he's breathing oxygen in the water and from, the air. He's getting a double dose. So that helps keep him energized and makes him more powerful, right?
Hmm.
So if we can find a way to kind of dry him out, maybe we can get it in, right? We can have a real fight. And it's just like a heater. And so they make this ship that basically is like kind of like a dehumidifier or air fryer, basically convection
Yeah.
oven type of section. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Right. That was a good idea. Uh,
I was
yeah,
like,
and
you're gonna cook the fish man?
it looked really high too.
It did look very hot.
Yeah.
It did.
They did real good with the set on that one because it
Yeah.
looked really high.
And so they get on this huge boat, huge. And I'd noticed the second time I saw it, like the way it's shaped has the same shape of the river tribe's hair. Like some of the men have that same haircut, where it's just kind of like goes like that.
Yeah.
Um, you can see them when Ramonda goes to the UN. There's like one there, and then you can see them throughout the movie as well. Particularly after Namor is like approaches them for the first time, and the queen is like, "How, you know, Water
Mhm.
Tribe? What are you doing? River Tribe, not Water Tribe. That's Avatar."
Now, one one review I saw, they did bring up a good point about this scene. Um, because they're fighting a water tribe. So they went to their territory.
Mhm.
They was like, it wouldn't necessarily be smart for them to go onto their turf to try to fight.
Mhm.
They should have tried to lure them to their turf, get them
But I
out the
think they would not have done that, right? I don't think they've fallen for that lure. If they can get, if they can just pull Namor out,
fight.
that's
Hmm.
who they really want.
Yeah.
You know. Now the strategy of like just one big boat and everything, it was not the smartest. Like they had
Yeah.
such a great strategy for what they're gonna do with Namor, and then when it comes to this big boat, you're like, oh, I feel like we could have done more. Like, you know.
Right. It seemed like their main focus was on the more, which rightfully so. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, they were losing.
Yeah, oh, they were losing.
Yeah, they were losing big.
They were losing. I
But
don't,
they didn't need to necessarily win the battle when the war is no more.
hmm
You
and
know.
like, with the whole attack they'd had previously, their numbers are already a little depleted.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I loved what they did do. Like when they had the sonic like blast coming from the bottom of the ship, I was like, oh, that's really cool. You know, um, why do you only have one? you know, uh, I love seeing like the talocons on the killer whales and on the sperm whales and everything, just like riding into battle. And like, oh, even in the scene on the bridge, like the whale basically like delivers them to the bridge via their tail, and it looks so cool. Like they're just jumping off, like, I'm here, you know.
Right. Right. What's up? What's tea?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And like
So,
seeing them crawl on the ship is like, oh gosh. And there are lots of them. And you're like, oh my
yes.
god, they're everywhere. You know.
Yes. They was everywhere like roaches. Like
Well, I wasn't gonna go with that, but
yes. But yeah, they was everywhere. They was
they're a force. They're a force.
Yeah. Now I thought that was really cool the way that they shot the scene on the side of the ship with them coming up and then them
Mhm,
fighting them. So I thought that was real cool.
mhm.
But
And Shuri like flying back and forth between them, and
uh
like how the Jabari men are holding the ropes for the Dora Milaje to fight them on the side of the ship and everything.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was cool. That was cool, but it just seemed like their thought, like their planning, didn't go past that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's story, like story point weakness right there.
yeah.
Um,
Um, but yeah, but they ended up getting Namor into the ship, and then they turned on the heaters, and the heaters was working until Namor started vandalizing the ship. So they had to get him over to the
mhm.
desert.
And at first I thought, well, why would you put him like in that part of the ship, whatever? And I was like, it doesn't matter. His staff is pure vibranium. Didn't matter where he was. The construction of
Yeah,
the ship would not have mattered.
yeah, it really wouldn't. Michael W says they multiplied like baby's kids. Yeah, that's better than
Yes.
roaches. But yeah, um, but yeah, so they get Namor over there to the desert, and him and Shuri fight it out. You
And it's a
know,
battle. It's hard.
it's a big battle. She ended up breaking off one of his wings.
Tore it
Um,
out.
yeah.
And I was
I,
like, whoo.
why was I like, God, Lee? I know that had to hurt.
Right?
Yo,
What do I know about having wings on my ankles? But I feel like that would be extremely painful.
hey, like God,
But
I
also I was
felt
like,
that. I
I
ain't
was
got
like, whoo.
nobody's wing. I
I
ain't
was like,
got
gee,
wings
I don't
on my.
know.
I ain't got a wing on my shirt. I ain't got
And
a.
then she holds it up, like victory. And I was like, I don't know
Yeah,
about that girl. 'Cause
right, right. Cause I'm sure ain't nobody came close
no.
to the wings, let alone ripping it out. So yeah. So then he during the fight he stabbed her in
Into
her
the rock.
torso. Yeah, and that looked painful as well,
Oh yeah.
extremely painful. And she screamed like it was painful. So
Hmm.
yeah, but she ended up breaking off the spear, and she got off of the spear,
Hmm.
and it healed.
That's that
But
vibranium in her blood.
right, right, right. Michael W said Shuri was so gangster during that fight scene.
She
Yes, she
was
was.
like
Yes, she was.
that all that rage and grief and pain, and she
Uh,
just taking it
took it
out.
out on him. She
Hmm.
definitely took it out on him. He after he stabbed her, he realized like, hey, I need to get to the water. So he's like, you know, barely walking, but he's walking towards the water nonetheless. So
Because
she
what
gets
she
off there.
had, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was
I'm
just
just
saying
excited.
she got off the she got off of that spear or whatever, and then she went to fight him again,
She
and
turned the rockets on him,
she
on his
turned the
back,
rocket.
because the ship had crashed
Oh
onto the
yes,
desert.
yes, yes, yes. She burnt the shit out of his back too.
She really did.
Yes, she did. Ooh, that was one painful ass fight scene. I tell you that. And I didn't fight nobody, but I felt it.
And that was the closest Namor had ever come.
Heck yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I tend to believe that he probably ain't really had a fight since he went back to his homeland and saw the
Nobody could
plantation.
hold him. Right. Nobody could. I mean, he might have had fights in between there, but could nobody hold him? Could nobody touch him?
But if nobody even knew that they existed, I don't see him fighting nobody.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, theoretically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, but I mean, because it's been like, that was like the 1500s and this,
Yeah.
like, so like,
Right, right, right.
in all of that time, I'm sure there had to be some fights with somebody somewhere.
Yeah, they probably sparred in the boxing ring under the water.
Because
But
they did attack that American, ship and everything.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure they had drills, like a fire drill. But yeah. So yeah, yeah, she burned the shit out of his back. So then she turned him on his back. And I was thinking like, dang, he didn't got all that dust in them burns.
Infection.
Yes, I was like, that is not gonna be good.
Well, the vibranium in his blood will probably be okay with those low
Yeah,
level infections.
right, right. Because I'm sure his back was fine by the end of the movie. But
Once he got in the water again. And also,
Yeah.
he's getting in salt water, so you know how that goes.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, he'd be all right. It was me and my second hand.
But that's, but you know, but it's great that you're feeling that way because it means they're telling an effective story.
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, when she turned him on his back, she put a spear up to his neck and was just like, yield, yield.
Mhm.
If you yield, we can go on ahead and tell our people to stop fighting each other, and we can build an alliance. So
And
yield.
yeah, you have this really great visual storytelling between her saying that and his answer, where she's like, "This is not going to undo all the things that happened. All
Hmm.
these things that happened, you know, if I kill him now, like they're not going to, nothing's going to go back to the way it was."
Right.
And then you also see him having like this kind of visual story as well, where he's like thinking about his mother and his people, and like seeing, you know, his mother in Shuri.
Hmm.
And then also Shuri's having this experience where she's seeing her mother, right? Which
Hmm.
is so important because this entire time Shuri is like, he's not, you know, talking about T'Challa when she's talking to her mother. He's not there in the woods. That's all in your head. Da, 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 you know, I'm not
Hmm.
doing this traditional thing. You know, this stuff isn't real. You know, whatever. And so at that moment, she's able to open up, and it's real for her. She's able to hear her mother like, show him who you are, which is like been the theme from the first movie. You know, I could
Right.
not like show them who you are.
Right. Right. So he going ahead and yields, and so they stop fighting. Then they go back to the boat where the Talican is about to push every Wakandan off of their own boat.
Yeah, the Wakandas at this point, they're like, okay, so we're about to lose, but we're gonna take everybody with us that we can.
Right, right. They was trying to hold them off, but they was at that edge. That 5 seconds later, they would have been over the edge. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, they both come back. They tell everybody stop fighting. We're good. So they stop fighting, and they're good.
Yeah, she's like, we promised to protect Talokan. We will not tell your secret.
Right,
You
right.
know,
So yeah, so they go back. They retreat. They go back under the water. The Wakandans go back home. Um, and yeah,
Shuri
so
goes to
then we
Shuri goes to IT.
right, right. She goes to IT, and that's where she ends up meeting up with Riri, and because Riri's about to go home
Oh
finally.
right, she does meet with before she goes to Haiti. She does meet Riri back in
Hmm.
Wakanda in her lab.
Yes, yes, and so she meets with Riri, lets her know, we found every piece to the car. The car will be back home before you. So,
And
when she found,
I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Y'all went back to MIT, got all the pieces of that car together, flew it to Wakanda, put it together just to show her, hey, we did this for you, but now we gonna fly it back to MIT, so it'll be there when you get there. I was like, wow.
right, and be there before you get there. So I
Right?
guess we're making her fly a commercial back home, and
They
she gonna
gotta be.
have hours.
She
And
has
so,
so many connecting flights.
right, and I'm just like, okay, well, so this totally doesn't make any sense, but what ifs?
No, I loved it because it was, you know, it was their gift to her, like what, you know, for fighting
Yeah,
with them.
none of it
Because,
made sense.
especially
Except for one.
because she couldn't keep the suit.
Right, right. She couldn't keep the suit,
So they're like, the least we can do is this car. Yeah, you know.
but the thing is that Wakandans were hot. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, America don't know about these blue people for real. For they know that they exist, but still, they still want to blame the black people. So for any Wakandan to go on American soil, they would probably be apprehended. So
Well,
for them to go there and get all the pieces to this car and then take it back to Wakanda,
Well, again, we've been shown that the rest of the world, I mean, when it comes to Wakanda doing, what they need to do during their war dog activities, the Americans, the French are both no match. So, look.
Yeah, yeah, but
Also, by that time, they're already focused on doing something else, right? Because we have Everett Ross saying, "Hey, it's not the Wakandas; it's this other thing. I need to investigate it." Da, da, da. While they're also spying on Everett Ross and figuring out like he's acting kind of as a double agent and all this stuff, right? So their
mhm.
focus is totally different. They don't care about this car.
Yeah, but it's just the point that there's Wakandas on American soil.
They don't know that.
But they could have. They could
They could
have.
have, but
I
they're
mean,
not looking. They're not looking.
too hot for me. Like the black way too hot
Well,
for me.
they probably they already had Americans. They already had Wakandans in America to begin with, right? Like we saw with Killmonger's father, right? So it's totally plausible there were already Wakandans there who just picked up the stuff.
Yeah, but how did they get it over there? Like the Wakandan ship had to come over there.
Money. They have unlimited monies. They'll find a way.
Right, right, right. So,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
because that's my whole point. Like you picked up all that stuff, brought it here, put it together just to show her, and then flew it back home. Money.
yeah, right. When they could have easily put it together there, right?
Right.
So it's so many questions with that alone. Um, and then it's gonna be that, and then it's gonna be there before she get there. So again, why is she flying commercial? Why y'all just don't put her on the ship and take her back? Why don't y'all put her on the same spaceship that y'all gonna put this car on, and they could have went back together? Like, is gas really that high?
Listen, we've already done
Like,
enough
I
on flying this car around the world like twice. Okay, like please take this first class Delta ticket and be on.
don't. Okay, okay. It was like, we're
Honestly,
gonna
the fact for me it was the fact that she was like, "I gotta get home." I was like, "Girl,
right.
for
I would
what?"
have been like, can my mama come here? Because I need to
Right.
leave. Like,
My mama would love this.
right, right. So yeah, so yeah, so that's how we tie up Riri's character. Um,
And also now she'll have to make a new suit, so we'll get to see that in whatever the next project is for her character.
yeah, yeah. So, which I'm sure that new suit is gonna be new and improved.
I don't know, man. That was a Wakandan tech suit.
Yeah, but I'm sure with her wearing it, she probably saw some flaws in it because that was the first time,
But she
for
made
real.
it.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
that was
the
her
whole thing
first.
is like, how would she get access to the technology to even just recreate that one suit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah. Now she is a
But
genius
she's
though, so I'm
smart,
sure she'll figure
right?
it out. But
She's smart.
like,
She gonna
yeah,
come up with something comparable.
yeah,
Uh, and then whatever flaws um that she experienced, she's gonna
yeah.
fix that. So,
I'll be
so yeah,
interested to see how she does that. So, but yeah,
yeah, yeah, that would be interesting. So yeah, so we're done with Riri. And then we have Shuri going to Haiti, and the final scene is her burning her funeral clothes. Nakia helps her out with getting the fire going on the beach,
hmm
but Shuri says that she wants to do it by herself.
hmm
And so we see her sitting out there burning her funeral clothes. And then we have
and
another silent montage of a bunch of scenes with T'Challa.
and Shuri, yeah, all the
And
scenes they had
Shuri.
together.
Yeah. So did you cry on that?
I wanted to. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't cry. I didn't cry, but but again, it was more effective the second time around.
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
just didn't have the tissue, so I was like, I can't do it. I don't have no tissue.
Right. So yeah. So then we after that or whatever, the credits start. Rihanna song starts playing. The credits start, and
Now,
then
I
we get
really like the song. I also love the production of the song. I don't
oh
really like it for Rihanna's voice.
I would have preferred Tim's.
Yeah.
I would have preferred Tim's. it seemed like the song was written for Tim's,
You need a
and
more
then,
delicate voice for that kind of song.
huh?
I feel like you need a more delicate voice for that kind of song.
But it seems like it was a last minute decision to put
I mean,
Rihanna.
I don't know, but like, yeah,
That song was not
Tim's.
written for Rihanna.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm part of the population that has been waiting since Anti for some new Rihanna music,
Same, same.
and we get this. And for nostalgia reasons, of course, we love it, but low key, we're like,
It's just not the best fit for her voice.
no, yeah,
She
like
has
we,
other songs that fit her voice better. This
oh
just
yeah,
not one of them.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, but this just it just wasn't it for me. I played it
Mhm.
when it first came out. I played it that one time, and that was it. Like this,
Yep, same. I didn't find
yeah,
myself really going back to it. You know.
right, right. This ain't gonna get multiple plays. Like bitch, better have my money. But yeah, don't too many songs get plays. Like bitch, better have my money. But yeah, so then we get the mid credit scene. What before I even ask you, let's just go on ahead and put it out there. So T'Challa and Nakia have a baby. The baby is what, 5, 6 years old?
So, yeah, about six. Yeah.
Yeah. And the kid's name is T'Challa. Queen Ramonda didn't know
His name
about,
is also Toussaint, right?
yeah, his
Yes.
Haitian name is Toussaint.
Hmm. Which is after the leader of the rebellion,
Yes.
emancipation,
Yeah.
self emancipation of the enslaved population of Haiti. Which
Right.
I really like. They chose Haiti. I really love they gave him that name because there was no reason to choose Haiti over any other place, right? That you wouldn't just think, oh, Haiti's going to show up in this movie, you know.
Right, right,
But
right.
I'm so glad they did.
Right. You know, I that wasn't lost on me, the whole Haiti
Hmm.
picking, and also the whole slavery
Hmm.
scene in Mexico.
Hmm.
That wasn't lost on me either.
Everything in this movie, so many things are done with so much obvious intention and thoughtfulness
Hmm.
behind it. I just love it.
Right, right, right. Because I'm just like, especially as Americans, we're normally showing slave American slavery.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Not even necessarily talking about or showing at all that other parts were enslaved as well.
Hmm.
So that,
Oh well, they specifically did not want to speak about Haiti when that happened because they didn't want their enslaved population getting ideas.
hmm,
So that part of Haitian history had been specifically hidden from the moment it happened.
right, right. So yeah, so none of that was lost on me. So um, shout out to the writers on that. You
Mhm.
know, so but yeah, so T'Challa and Nakia have a baby, and
He's got Chadwick's eyes
yeah, has Chadwick's eyes. Queen Ramonda knew about the baby.
because
Um,
she was trying to tell her about it right before Namor appeared on the beach.
you think that's what she was trying to tell her?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, because I was talking to somebody and they were saying that Queen Ramonda didn't know until she went to Haiti.
No, she knew. She was like, I
And
have
that's
to
what
tell
I
you,
was
I have something to tell you about your brother. You don't bring that up in a movie and don't follow up on that.
saying. Yeah. Because that's what I was saying too. Because I was just like, I think she knew while T'Challa was alive.
Mhm.
Because I mean, if you don't tell nobody else, you're going to tell
You
your
gonna tell
mom.
your mama.
Yeah. But they was like, no. They was like, no, Ramonda didn't know until she went to Haiti. And I was
Mm-mm.
just
She
like,
knew.
I don't think so, but okay. I left it alone. So, but yeah, so she knew or whatever. So that was good that she did know that before she passed away. Whether
Yes.
it was right before or years before, she knew.
Right.
So, um, Shuri met her nephew, and that was the end of the mid credit scene. So what was your thoughts about that part? And before you go there, I said out loud when I saw that scene, I said I knew it. I wanted to bet money on that part. I said it out. I said it out loud.
No,
But
I had a feeling like that, of course, because like again, I had been they said they weren't recasting him in this movie,
mhm.
you know. So I was like, "Oh, that's how you do it, right? That's a way to do it." Um the kid is just so adorable. He's just so cute. He's
Yeah,
so
cute.
cute.
He's a cutie.
Um but yeah, and like I could just I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm not mad at it. But the reason why they were over in Haiti, I was like, they could have came up with a better idea.
Well, I could understand them being over in Haiti, um, because especially since they had just opened up to the world and everything,
Hmm.
Wakanda's a different place now than it was when T'Challa was growing up. You
Yeah.
know, you got more people coming in, trying to get away in, trying to, all that kind of stuff. And I could understand, especially with him being that young. Like
Hmm.
let him be a little kid.
Yeah.
He'll come into that responsibility soon enough. But they would at some point need to move him to Wakanda because I could imagine people being like, he doesn't even know his people. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But I was like, he's 6. It's fine. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they're just looking at this being like a school teacher with her kid, then yeah. But once they find out who she really is, she gotta go.
yeah,
So, but yeah. Um, but yeah, that's Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
yes,
So, yeah, we already gave it our ratings,
we
but
did.
um,
It's a 5. It's a classic for me.
yeah, um, and I said 4 is great.
Mhm.
I think the first one is a classic.
I think the first one's classic too. But
Yeah, but
it was just like this movie couldn't be as good as it was without that one at all.
yeah, yeah, it definitely needed it. Um, but yeah, so yeah, so that was our
Wakanda
bonus.
Forever review.
Yes, our bonus episode.
I'm sorry, look.
So the next episode that we'll be doing, we get back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Yes.
Um, our next one is your pick.
Yes, my pick for you, which was Fight Club.
Yes, yes. So
The
that will
very
be,
famous movie.
yeah, very famous Brad Pitt movie.
Mhm.
And I mean, I know the gist of the movie, and somebody told me the twist years ago. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I was like,
right.
what?
Yeah, I it was spoiled for me probably 20 years ago. So
We watched it. I actually watched it at Georgia State.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I forget what class it was. It was a sociology class. I
Oh
don't forget why we were watching it, but yeah, we
yeah.
watched Fight Club.
Okay. You know what movie I watched at Georgia State that I still
What's
love
that?
to this day? It was in a film class too.
Mm-hmm.
Paris is Burning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic. That is a
So,
classic too.
yeah. So
But
Michael W says
it,
great episode and review, ladies. Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Mike.
Thanks. So
We do it now. Share it with your friends and family. Let them know they want a
yes,
really
yes,
great nuanced discussion about Wakanda Forever. They need to go ahead and subscribe.
yes, right. And
Leave a like
so
on the video.
right, like, comment, subscribe, and share. So where can we find you, Maria?
You can find me all over various social medias, because Lord knows with this Twitter landscape. But anyway, I have the same name. That's Valar More Dollars. That's VALARMOR dollars. Also on a podcast with a few other friends, black women who like nerdy and geeky things, called Nerdgasm Noir. You can find me there too. Where can they find you, Lindsay?
I'm all over socials at L underscore Renelle. That's L underscore RANELLE. And I'm also on another podcast with my cousin, and it's called The Ish We Talk. And we talk about various topics weekly. Um, yeah, that's where I'll be.
Come find us, subscribe,
Yeah.
leave a comment, give us a thumbs up. And if you have any suggestions for something you think we might like or enjoy, leave it in the comments, leave it in a review, let us know.
All right. Sounds good to me. So until next time with Fight Club, bye.
Wakanda forever.